action.
What a moment!
From all the biggest games.
This is Sports Sound.
Oh, it's a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Another goal!
Hello and good evening to you from Celtic Park. Liam McLeod, Packie Bonner, Rory Loy with you for this one, Celtic against St Mirren. We are just a couple of minutes away from kick-off here. Of course, Celtic coming up against the only domestic opposition to get the better of them this season, when they did so in Paisley in the middle of September. O'Hara and Ayunga scoring goals either side of half-time. It was a very un-Celtic-like performance, but take nothing away from St Mirren, who were magnificent on the night. And they'll be needing something along those lines, if not even better, if they are to repeat the feat this evening in Glasgow's East End. Of course, they were the last team domestically to beat Celtic at Celtic Park as well. Jim Goodwin's side did so just under 2 years ago. Dennis and Dermot scoring either side of an Edouard opener for Celtic on that game, but Celtic are 38 games unbeaten domestically here since then, and their overall record as well, if you include that St Mirren defeat, it's 1 defeat in 51. So the Celtic players just going into their huddle. There is a debut this evening for Yuki Kobayashi at centre-half. He'll play on the left, which moves Starfelt to his more favoured right side. Hardly ever gets to play there. So Hart in goal, Johnston, Starfelt, Kobayashi and Juranovic, O'Reilly, McGregor, Hatate, Abada and Jota either side of Kyogo. For St Mirren, Trevor Carson in goal, Gallagher, Shaughnessy and Dunn across the back with Strain and Tanser wide. Bacchus, Gogic and Erdogan with Ayunga and Main leading the line for them this evening. Tall order, it always is. Celtic have won 10 out of 10 in the Premiership here this season. They've scored 30 goals in the process. So this is an awesome task facing Paisley's black and white. You're in their change colours, the all black with white flashes. Celtic in the green and white hoops. It will be Saints to kick off, going right to left, shooting towards the Jock Stein west end of the stadium. And Celtic shooting towards the Lisbon line stand as referee Stephen McLean blows the first whistle of the evening as it's played back to Dunn. He's played it straight off Kyogo, who's almost managing to get in there, and put for Declan Gallagher's last-ditch challenge he would have done. Kyogo just charged down Dunn's long ball. It bounced into the path of the Japanese striker, but Gallagher was in the way to bail his teammate out. That happened inside 15 seconds.
It was really interesting because Gogic actually tried to block Kyogo off to stop him doing exactly what he did, and he didn't manage it.
Oh, now Abada's gone down in the box. Stephen McLean shakes his head, waves his arms. No penalty, but Celtic threatening twice in the opening 40 seconds, Rory Loy.
Yes, indeed, and if there's ever any evidence of the Ange Postecoglou era, then, you know, that first 5 seconds from Kyogo is exactly that. Firing out the block straight to close him down and nearly through on goal. As for the penalty shout, he may have caught Abada. I don't think Abada was getting anywhere near the pass from the middle of the pitch, so probably looked the right call for me.
Celtic unbeaten in their last 10 since losing at Real Madrid in their final Champions League match. They've won 9 of those matches, the only exception being the game at Ibrox at the start of the month, as Joe Hart gets his first touch of the ball from the edge of his box, hoofs it forward into the Saints half, where Dunn's header goes into Celtic territory, comes off the head of Johnston. St Mirren have it down the left, Curtis Main driving forward, Johnston for company. Main down towards the corner flag, happy to win the throw-in off the Canada international. This is going to be about level with the Celtic penalty spot down this near side. Remember, St Mirren, as impressive as they've been at home, they haven't been able to win more than one game on their travels in the Premiership this campaign. It was a very impressive one at Dundee United as they get their first chance to attack the Celtic box, and Joe Shaughnessy with the captain's armband is drying the ball down, and we know he's got a good long throw on him, the big man from Galway, and he has it here into the box. It comes off a Celtic head, and it's away to safety outside the box. Now Jota's away in the counter on the near side. Gogic for company, gets it round Alex Gogic. It's brilliant play by Jota. Jota looking for Kyogo, he's found him as well. His touch takes it back the way though, and he's got to retreat, does get back onto it. He's looking for space to shoot here. Kyogo deflected wide, Celtic corner. They attack with such menace, do the champions. 0-0, 2.5 played.
Yeah, they defended the long throw-in quite well, and then of course broke out really quickly, and the skill of Jota obviously up against Gogic, and been able then to see the pass on his left hand side.
Corner from O'Reilly into the box. It's headed clear by Dunn out to this near side. Scott Tanser helps it on its way. It breaks back to Matt O'Reilly. It's the top assister in the Premiership so far this season is O'Reilly, as he rolls it back to McGregor. I'll keep you up to date as we go along with the other games tonight at Rugby Park in Tynecastle. No goals in the very early exchanges of the 3 Premiership matches being played this evening. The 3 that have survived tonight are the ones rescheduled because of the weekend League Cup semis. As Jota picks up right hand side of the box through the legs of Gogic. He's level with the penalty spot at walking pace, passes it back to Johnston. Down in the inside here is Hatate. He turns it back with a left foot for McGregor to Hatate, rolling it for Jota. St Mirren have to be so switched on in these early stages as Tanser puts it out for a Celtic throw-in level with the Saints 6 on this near side.
Yeah, what you quite often see, Liam, when teams like St Mirren come here, if they do play the 3-5-2, is it very quickly becomes a back 5 and strain, and Tanser are getting pushed right back as full-backs already, not wing-backs.
Johnston keeping it in play in this near side. O'Reilly level with the 18, rolling it infield to McGregor under pressure from Bacchus. Comes back the way to Starfelt. So 0-0 at Tynecastle. Of course it's still goalless at Rugby Park because it doesn't kick off till 8 o'clock, that one. So they're about 10 minutes from kick-off in that match in Ayrshire. As Celtic come forward, 0-0 here, but it's Celtic on the front foot as you would expect at home in particular. 4 minutes in is Juranovic over on the far side, back to Jota, first time low ball in, cleared by Shaughnessy, he gets it away. Now it's with Kobayashi, first proper feel of the ball as a Celtic player. He's given it away though, and it's picked up by Curtis May, and wide on the right he goes long, looking to try and find Ayunga on this near side. It's headed away by Celtic though into the midfield, and Hatate picks up and finds O'Reilly wearing the gloves to combat the cold temperatures. It's about 1 degree above freezing at kick-off time as Scott Tanser wins it for St Mirren, and he just launches it forward right into the Celtic half and right through to Joe Hart, and it's Celtic 0, Saints 0.
Yeah, they'll be happy to get back on their pitch also, Celtic. Hampden wasn't in good condition, and of course the weather wasn't very good, but tonight the pitch looks as if it's playing well for them. They're passing that ball again as usual after first, second touches and moving it very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's paid in part, but let's be honest, the west of Scotland, and I think it's rained, apart from the last couple of days, it's rained just about every day for a month since that very cold period in December, so you can forgive there being bare patches on any pitch in the country right now. And that was a proper quagmire at the National Stadium at the weekend as Bacchus rolls it out to the far side for Ryan Strain. Strain then dinking it forward, but Celtic pinch it back. Strain and Bacchus were magnificent for St Mirren in that victory over Celtic in September, as that goes out for a throw-in on the far side to Celtic midway inside Saints territory, right in front of the north stand on the Celtic left. Jota taking it quickly, they always do. It's now back on that right hand side, but it is cleared by Strain, picked up by Juranovic in the centre circle, and he knocks it back to Starfelt. He'll enjoy playing on his right hand side tonight.
Yeah, well, it gives a better balance, doesn't it? You know, when you come out onto that right foot and you're right footed on right side and you're right footed, you can almost play the ball that sort of you're not putting it at risk, and it's an easier pass for him. When he's on the opposite side, he's playing with his right foot, and players can get almost intercept the ball at times. And the same with Kobayashi, he'd be delighted to be out on the pitch tonight to savour this atmosphere.
Yep, making his debut, signed a long deal, so I think it was a 4.5-5 year deal for Kobayashi. He's a former Japan under-20 international, most recently at Vissel Kobe. He's in possession here. He rolls it out to that left-hand side, but it's collected by Hatate. He's right on the halfway line. Now back with Kobayashi. I'm delighted he's got so many of his countrymen in the Celtic squad. He'll settle quicker that way. Forward it comes towards O'Reilly. Can he get there before the byline? He can't, and it goes behind, and that will be a goal kick to St Mirren. 0-0, 7 minutes into this one, and still goalless in the early exchanges between Hearts and Aberdeen in the east, in the capital.
It's quite interesting, Liam, watching St Mirren. You know, Craig spoke about, would Main or Ayunga drop back in on Callum McGregor. It's actually Ethan Erehon in the early stages who's playing in the middle of the three for St Mirren, who's getting in contact and getting in touch with McGregor, and they're leaving Main and Ayunga up the pitch, which is brave. But you know how Celtic are like with a quick passing, could punish them. However, like I said, Stephen Robinson setting up to have a go.
Well, the point there is if they do win the ball off Callum McGregor, then he's got options. You know, Erhan's got options with the two ahead of him. You know, and sometimes when you're kind of asking a forward to come back, you're almost then, if you do win it, you don't have those options higher up the pitch.
The St Mirren free kick, incidentally, just a couple of yards inside the Celtic half right of the centre circle as they attack the goal to the left. Last week's defeat, the Hearts, was their first loss in 7 after going 6 without, as it's played towards Bacchus, who chases down the right-hand side of the box. Too much on it, though, and it goes behind for the goal kick to Celtic, and Hearts taking it very quickly, and Callum McGregor scampers forward, as is his wont, and he rolls it out to Jota, gets the flick back into the path of McGregor, driving down the far side. Dunn read the danger. He's really quick, Charles Dunn. He had to be there as he comes from the left side of the defence to the right to manage to pop it out for a throw-in. Celtic take quickly but give it away. They won it back quickly and then give it away quickly as well. Bacchus, he can't control, and now Jota back to Juranovic and into his own half for Kobayashi. 0-0, 8.5 on the clock.
It's criminal from strain. You know, we spoke all pre-match about how big St Mirren are. They get all their bodies forward, give the ball away without even trying to put it in the box, and then it's panic stations as Shaughnessy and Gallagher trying to scamper back in. You know, I would just be getting it in the box if I was St Mirren.
He did well to win it back there, but Shaughnessy gives it away in a relatively dangerous area. It's picked up wide in the left by O'Reilly, level with a St Mirren 18. Infield it comes from Jota to Johnston, and back out to Jota, flicks it forward, couldn't quite get it into the path of Johnston, who's way out of position now. And St Mirren have it on that right hand side with Bacchus forward towards Main, cleared by Starfelt on the halfway line, and out for a St Mirren throw-in over on the far side. The way the Celtic fullbacks play, and tonight it's Johnston and Juranovic, they can find themselves in positions that are not alien to them, but as far as their role in the team's concerned this evening, defensively, they can find themselves way off course.
Yeah, and that's down to the opposition then. They know how to play now, so you almost have to set your stall out that you're going to deal with that, so a big onus on the St Mirren's midfield to just get players into the right position, so when they do come in there that they're close enough to them, and they may have to do double up on their jobs. It's not just one person you have to close down, you may have to close down 2.
Another long throw opportunity for St Mirren to put it in the Celtic box, this time from their right hand side. Joe Shaughnessy's over it again. It's about level with the edge of the D of the Celtic box. He's stolen a few yards. Long throw into the area, Main gets his head to it. Celtic hit it half clear. It's still inside the box for St Mirren. Might break here for Gogic. His shot with the left foot's blocked. Up into the air it goes. Off Gogic's head again. It's in. It's a goal. Curtis Main, but the flag goes up on the far side, and the celebrations are finished before they truly started for Curtis Main, and it stays Celtic 0, St Mirren 0. The offside flag up against them, 10.5 in.
I tell you what, Curtis Main gets such a good climb. I thought he went up too early, but he hung in the air so well, and Kobayashi's going to need to get used to the physicality of Curtis Main and Ayunga pretty quickly, because he's been beaten in the air a couple of times, and that caused panic in the Celtic backline there.
Yeah, all coming from the long throw, Packy.
Yeah, it is, and it's the lack of height. You know, it's not about anything other than the Celtic players haven't got the 6'4", 6'5" players. Yeah, they're double checking it, and
it's very tight, we're hearing. Back at base, we have no monitors here to review it. Stephen McLean's got his right hand to his ear as he talks to Andrew Dallas.
Yeah, and all of this, I thought that was Steve McLean announcing what was this all about across the tannoy there. I thought he was in early with the rule.
I know you were saying about the height, but Cameron Carter-Vickers isn't the tallest, and he wouldn't have got beaten there by Curtis Main, in my opinion. Or at least he would have done enough to put him off.
He uses his body really well, though, doesn't he? You know, he's physical. He is offside.
No goal.
Decision made.
Yeah, confirmed no goal. Tight, but offside against Curtis Main. But little let off for the Celtic defence, though.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be one of those issues. You know, if you put Kobayashi, I'm looking at him now out on the pitch, he's about, as Craig Levine described his profile, he's about 6 foot tall, so he's not going to be huge coming and dealing with those type of set pieces. So it's all about the second ball as far as I'm concerned for Celtic, and they have got to be clued into it. And that time it was St Mirren who got to the second ball quicker.
Here's Celtic with Juranovic driving down the left-hand side, out to Jota, left-hand side of the box, gets the cross in. Shaughnessy heads it back across his own goal, but the diving headed away by Scott Tanser was excellent. Celtic come again with McGregor, and then he rolls it back into the centre circle for Kobayashi. Striding out to that left-hand side, left-footed, out to Jota. Quick ball there from McGregor on the underlap. He keeps it in at the byline. Down by the corner flag on the far side. Rolls it out to the touchline for Jota. In field to Hatate. And back to Jota. Here's Kobayashi again. Celtic have to go back to square one here. And Kobayashi left of the centre circle to the left-hand side for Hatate. In field for Juranovic it was. And then O'Reilly dancing towards the edge of the box. Sliding in's done. And he was behind for the goal kick. Off the Celtic man last, and on 13 it remains Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
I tell you what, Abada gets a lot of goals sneaking into that back post there. He's got some big goals in some high-profile games, but Scott Tanser was switched on, beat him to it and headed away well. That was dangerous for Celtic.
Yeah, one of the Rangers games here, Abada was doing that, and in the game at Tannadice, the 9-0 game against Dundee United, they did that for fun that afternoon.
Yeah, listen, as a fullback, you've got to be aware, you've got to open up your body, you've got to know where he is at all times, because he's got pace to get in there also. It's not a case where it's just about getting in. He has got a dart of pace, and if you just switch off for a second, he'll be in front of you.
Here's Juranovic driving down the left-hand side, cutting in field, midway inside the St Mirren half. Switches it from left to right for Johnston. Out to the right-hand side for Abada. First field run at the box here for Abada. Skips away from Tanser. Rolls it to O'Reilly. His attempted pass across the 6-yard box is blocked by Dunham behind for a Celtic corner. Right in front of the St Mirren fans off to our right. 14 in 0-0. Matt O'Reilly over the corner. Jota comes out to give him a short option. But it will be O'Reilly into the box. And it comes. Oh, what a save! On the rebounds off the post. And at the third attempt, it's lashed home by Abada. 3 bites at it, the champions had. And Lil Abada smashes it past Trevor Carson, who did not deserve to concede there after the initial save. It came back and then thumped off the post before Abada finds the net, and it's Celtic 1, St Mirren 0.
Well, they get to the first one with a header, which they shouldn't do from a set piece with the height of this St Mirren side. They then get to the second one, they then get to the third one, and Stephen Robinson's inquiries going on at the moment as to how on earth that happened, but Lil Abada was absolutely clinical when the chance came along.
Yeah, listen, it's a great finish, brilliant finish. The goalkeeper be so disappointed because what a save he had on the second one. I think probably the first one, but you could see it from up here. When you're watching that set up from that corner, there was a huge space in the front post area, a huge hole that Celtic exploited absolutely perfectly. The ball in there didn't have height on it. It was hit then with pace from O'Reilly, and then the run across the defender, and that's where the goal came from. So you've got to say St Mirren defensively was poor, but Celtic, wow, really sharp.
St Mirren coming down the right. There's been a goal at Tynecastle. Brian McLaughlin.
Yes, it's Harden Midlothian 1, Aberdeen 0. The goal coming after 15 minutes. A long throw down the left-hand side by James Hill, flicked on at the near post, and there was Josh Ginnelly to tap the ball over the line. Hearts 1, Aberdeen 0.
Aberdeen are 8 visits to Tynecastle without a win. No surprise if Hearts go on to pick up all 3 points in that one. They're unbeaten in 7. As St Mirren come forward, long throw into the box, causing problems again. Breaks back to Bacchus. His shot blocked by Starfelt. And then the header from Jota goes back towards his own byline, and eventually it's cleared to relative safety. Shockness is going to try and get back onto it. This is a good response by St Mirren to go behind. It's onto the chest of Jota, and now it's Hatate who shifts it back to Juranovic. He'll now drive forward up towards halfway. Josip Juranovic runs into trouble though. St Mirren get it back with Keanu Bacchus down that right hand side. Now he finds Ayunga. Ayunga level with 18, he's gone for goal, and Joe Hart is to tip it round the post. That's audacious as you get there from Jonah Ayunga. It stays Celtic 1, St Mirren 0, but Joe Hart had to dive at full stretch to get to that one.
I'm saying, what's he doing? He's away out. He's away out on the right hand side. He cuts in. He's still outside the corner of the box when he goes and hits this shot. And I don't think Joe Hart was out of position, but it was just because it was almost dipping over the top of him, and it ended up being a brilliant save. Great effort.
Tanser's corner. There's a couple of players down inside the box as Celtic get it away, and now it will break to Bacchus over on that right hand side. I'm going to try and get St Mirren into an attacking position again here, down towards the corner flag. Celtic managed to pinch it back. They're claiming corner for St Mirren. In fact, I think the free kick's been given to Celtic.
Do you think, Rory, did he mean that?
listen, maybe I'm being kind. He did lift his head just before it to have a scan and see what was available. So whether he spotted Joe Hart off his line, not quite sure. But
some effort.
But I do think that long throw again, Pack. I hear what you're saying about, you know, going after second balls, which is fine in the middle of the pitch, but, you know, trying to kind of gamble on a second ball falling to you in the box. You know, St Mirren will be looking to get these throw-ins high up the pitch because they're causing all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, listen, the ideal situation from a defensive perspective is deal with the first ball.
Yeah,
but then if you can't deal with the first ball, then you've got to be switched on, and then it's really who wants it most.
So 1-0 to Celtic here. It is 1-0 to Hearts against Aberdeen, and they will be underway at Rugby Park, I presume, in the match between Kilmarnock and Rangers. No goals in the early few minutes of that one. That was an 8 o'clock start. Celtic leading here thanks to that goal from Leo Labada, which is incidentally his 10th of the season. Not always a starter for Celtic, but that is double figures for Abada again.
That's an incredible ratio of goals for him, you know, and as you say, he hasn't started all the games, but when you have a wide guy scoring that amount of goals, it's a fantastic benefit to your team. And by the way, the finish was unbelievable.
Laces through it. Yeah, really good. I think, you know, I like Haksabanovic, but I think their front three tonight is their strongest, in my opinion, that they've got out on the field in Jota, Kyogo and Abada. And
Daizen Maida's been brilliant since coming back from the World Cup, where he was excellent for Japan as the main central striker. Here comes St Mirren. Tanzer with the cross balls, headed away by Starfelt. I have to say, apart from the goal, Stephen Robinson will be absolutely delighted with this St Mirren performance. He'll be so frustrated that they've conceded from the set piece, and when they had 2 opportunities to get rid of it.
Yeah, and they're getting themselves up into those forward positions, and when they do get up there, they're creating opportunities from these set pieces. Another long throw from the left hand side this time.
They're causing problems
Joe
with these.
Shaughnessy,
Well, Joe Shaughnessy is going to throw this into the box. There's been action at Rugby Park. We'll get to that in a moment. Shaughnessy bowls the ball into the box, comes off Curtis Main. Gogic with a header down straight at Hart. Goal early on at Rugby Park. Martin Dowden.
It is a goal. It's Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 0. Sustained pressure from the hosts. Series of corners, one floated in, and there was Chris Stokes with a header inside the 6-yard box. It's Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 0.
There you go. Celtic, as it stands, going 12 clear at the top of the Premiership, with both teams having played the same number of matches. As it stands early on, Starfelt's given it away. Dreadful ball. Here's Ayunga, he's got Main up in support. Ayunga going on his own, and his shot blocked by Kobayashi, the debutant, and out it goes for a throw-in. Curtis Main's asking where on earth was the pass. It stays 1-0 to the champions.
Starfelt will be happy that his partner took him out of it at that time, because I don't think he even looked up. He didn't even realise.
He's got that in him, Starfelt, at times.
Yeah, he has. Of course he has, and that's his Achilles heel, and he's a good defender. He's strong, he's physical, but passing wouldn't be his forte.
Shaughnessy with another long throw over on that right-hand side. It's come off a Celtic defender, headed half away. Gogic shoots for goal, didn't have the power, blocked. And there's a man down on the edge of the box in green and white, and that's a Celtic free kick inside the D of their own box. We're in the 21st minute. Celtic 1, St Mirren 0. Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 0. Hearts 1, Aberdeen 0. The 3 home sides in front. And talking about gaps, Celtic go 12 points clear. That's a gap there. Hearts, as it stands, are going to go certainly 9 points clear of Aberdeen. Of course, Livingston are a couple of points better off than the Dons, currently sitting in 4th. It really does give Hearts a serious grip on 3rd place. You just can't imagine Aberdeen reeling that in should they lose that game this evening. They had to get out of Edinburgh without dropping all 3 points. Still plenty time in that one, as there is across the country. In fact, that game at Rugby Park, an 8 o'clock kickoff for Kilmarnock, striking early. And they've been excellent at Rugby Park this season. Again, much like most of the league, much better at home. As Ayunga drives forward, no flag unless it goes up when this moves over, of course. Ayunga's little flick forward is cut out, and Alistair Johnston gets onto it, and eventually the flag does go up. It's going to annoy the heck out of supporters for the rest of the time now.
It annoys me that also.
He's clearly off, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was off, and the assistants on line with it. You know, he's not as if it's a hard decision to make. Now, I know they've been told with this VAR to keep your flag down, but it's such a long time. It was almost
so clear, Packy, as well.
It just annoys everyone. As Gallagher plays it back to Dunn. He goes back to his goalkeeper, but hey, if that wasn't a borderline, if it's a borderline offside, then they're right to let it continue until in case a goal is scored and he's onside.
The only thing I maybe thought was, did it actually touch Main's head with the flick on? But I think it did, to be fair.
Tate with a long ball, curling it into the St Mirren box, looking for Jota. It's picked up on that far side by Strain, who lets it go out for a throw-in to St Mirren over on that far side. A quarter of this Premiership game has come and gone. Celtic 1, St Mirren 0. As far as Celtic are concerned, it's been a kind of standard Celtic performance under Postecoglou, Paki, but Stephen Robson's team has certainly turned up tonight. I mean,
they've competed.
They look dangerous.
They've competed, and and as I say, they've been up the pitch on numerous occasions, and most of the time they've created from set pieces, from long throws, which Celtic can't deal with at the moment. But Celtic are still nipping the ball around really well, and they're passing it well, and they've got their goal, which will be delighted with.
They are packing. I'm just interested now, because I was thinking, the midfield three for St Mirren is so narrow, and when Alistair Johnson's going in the pitch like Ange Postecoglou likes his fullbacks to do, he's almost going in and just standing next to Gogic. And I seen Alistair Johnson go across to Postecoglou there, and I don't know if he was signalling him, look, just keep a little bit of width to try and bring Gogic out to you, and then the same on the other side with Bacchus and Juranovic, because they are playing a very narrow three, St Mirren, but with the fullbacks going in the pitch for Celtic, it's just more and more bodies in there.
Yeah, and sometimes when they go in the pitch, they almost confuse the opposition, and it's the midfielder that pops out into the space. But I think in this instance, you're right. I think he's been given a little bit of direction to stay wider, just to open up that midfield a little bit more.
Yep.
Celtic 1, St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 0, Hearts 1, Aberdeen 0. Here on Sports Sound 24 in here in Glasgow, and it's Rio Hatate in possession on the halfway line as he knocks it back to his compatriot Kobayashi.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you open up, obviously with Erhan pushing on to Callum McGregor, that creates space behind him also, and that opens up the space in there for O'Reilly or for Hatate to maybe operate a little bit more also.
Here comes Celtic down the left-hand side with Hatate, and he's on the corner off Bacchus. He's claiming it's come off the Celtic man last for a goal kick, but it's a corner to Celtic over in that far side, in the northeast corner of the stadium. Over there, Jota in front of the safe standing section, waits to put this in, swinging in with the right boot, bends it into the box. It's allowed to drop on the 6-yard line, and Shaughnessy gets it clear out into the main stand on this near side for a Celtic throw in, which the goal scorer Abada has taken quickly. Here's McGregor knocking it back to Abada on this near side. O'Reilly first time looking for Johnston on the near side. The challenge comes from Tanser, and Celtic keep the pressure on, but what we're hearing is the pressure shouldn't be on right now, because by all accounts that should have been a St Mirren goal kick just a moment ago, as Johnston prepares to take this throw in level with the St Mirren 6-yard line. It's his third appearance in the green and white for Johnston. Arrives from Nashville in the MLS. It is Hatate, well defended by Tanser, and eventually it does go behind for the goal kick, and it will stay Celtic 1, St Mirren 0 in the 26th minute.
Yeah, the one thing from Celtic's perspective, when they do get the ball into those forward areas, they've got real quality in there. People who can take opposition on in a 1v1. They can get a little bit of quality, they can get a ball into the area very quick, and then they come alive inside the box, so you have to be switched on all the time.
Long ball forward by Carson, the header from Kobayashi drops out for a throw-in on this near side for the visitors. Continue to trail this game by 1-0, but they put enough into this to suggest that there's still plenty of life in this match. Chris Stokes with the Kilmarnock goal, it's his third of the season. Josh Ginnelly has got the Hearts goal, and he's had something of a renaissance period in maroon. The home side's all 1-0 up. Remember the Livingston Dundee United game postponed just over an hour before kick-off. Feel hard sorry for supporters, particularly those travelling down from Dundee for that one. Game called off so close to kick-off. They've been given the initial go-ahead at 3 o'clock this afternoon, as Kobayashi turns it back to Joe Hart. It's been another goal at Tynecastle. Have Hearts doubled their lead at Aberdeen level? Let's find out, Brian.
Hearts have doubled their advantage, and what a goal it was. Michael Smith eventually scoring, made by a terrific 60-yard pass, so by the Hearts defender Toby Civic over the top of the Aberdeen back four into the path of Michael Smith. One touch to control, the second in the back of the net. Hearts 2, Aberdeen 0.
And here Celtic had a shout for a penalty when Jota went down inside the area, Rory Loy.
No, not a chance.
Not a chance.
Full contact on the ball, and he kicked the ball. He did really well actually, Ryan Strain coming in. He got caught out. It was a really good move by Celtic, and Jota got in behind him, but he recovered well and got his full toe on the ball, and for me that's never a penalty.
Celtic in possession with Juranovic over on the far side, Packy.
Yeah, I just agreeing with Rory on that occasion. I think the crowd shouted, but you don't react every time this crowd shouts.
Johnston's long ball looking for Abada. Tanzar does well, but he's put it behind for the corner. Abada was lurking in behind him, and you cannot take any risks in that kind of situation. 28 in, 1-0 Celtic.
And that's where Gogic has got to make the decision now, with Johnston staying out wide. Does he stay, or does he stay in with O'Reilly? And Charles Dunn steps into O'Reilly. He does neither there, Gogic.
O'Reilly's corner, and it comes, headed up into the air by Main, still alive for Celtic, and then the spectacular bicycle effort from Jota goes wrong, and he lands, he'll hope not too awkwardly, as he gets himself back to his feet. St Mirren get it away, and it's picked up over on the far side by Juranovic, who plays it to McGregor, and down the line for Hatate. He's under no pressure now as he rolls it back to Kobayashi inside his own half. 29th minute. Neil Abada with the only goal of the game so far, his 10th of the season. He scored 15 last term. There can't be too many wingers in world football who are scoring on as regular a basis as Abada is. 15 last season, 10 so far, and counting this season. As Jota comes forward, he's away from one, he goes down, claims he was fouled, the referee agrees. And that's going to be a free kick to Celtic, almost level with the St Mirren penalty spot. It's a couple of yards from the left-hand side of their box. And actually the Saints player, I think is it Strain who's down, he's come off the worst there.
Yeah, he did, and it's obviously he dropped the shoulder, and he just can almost play the ball past him. He's going to attack, and he's come out the worst Strain, and whether he'll get treatment or not, I'm not too sure, but he looked a little bit distressed initially. Yeah, he's back up on his feet, so there's not too much wrong with him.
Good chance this for Celtic, and Stephen Robinson will be desperate for his team to defend this better than they defended the corner that led to the Celtic goal earlier on. Abada striking on 15 minutes in this one. That's what the guys were saying before. If you stand a chance of getting a result here, you probably have to score first, and you certainly don't want to concede in the relatively early stages of the game, and that's what St Mirren did.
Yeah, well, St Mirren is set up in almost a line of about 7 defenders straight across just outside the 6-yard box, allowing Celtic to get a run on them.
O'Reilly with it, left-footed into the box, and it's attacked by Starfelt, comes off a St Mirren defender and was over the crossbar for another Celtic corner.
Yeah,
1-0 to the champions.
I don't know what you think about that setup, Rory, but 7 players all in the line. I would rather 1 or 2 of them gone up against the decent players that Celtic have in the air.
They're taking it quickly. Starfelt tries to control in the chest, flicked away by Shocknessy. Hatate on the volley from 22-23 yards out, but it's blocked and goes out for a throw-in on this near side. Stephen Robinson barking instructions at his players. They're still very much in this contest. It's the one behind, but if Celtic get another one, you would have to say it would probably be good night Vienna for the Paisley side tonight.
Yeah, it could be curtains if it does go to 2. But I agree with Packy as well. Having the 7, they're all standing still as well, so you're risking Celtic getting a running start on you. You're better to have a couple out who can get the run as well, try and defend it. Although Charles Dunn did get a good head on the ball to clear it for a corner, but full agreement with Packy there.
And Jota picks up Hatate, gone down. Jota tries to reverse it into the path of Juranovic. It's blocked by his own man Hatate. He tried to make the best of it. Pass towards the 18-yard line's cleared by Dunn. And into the Celtic half where Joe Hart meets it midway inside his own half, right-footed little clip ball to his left for Kobayashi. And Postecoglou down there, hands in pockets. Both managers are actually in the edge of their technical areas. And the Celtic boss will be looking for his team to score a second goal, because St Mirren have come here with a threat. Celtic come forward again with O'Reilly left-hand side of the box up against Declan Gallagher. Level with the penalty spot, he turns it back to Hatate. Hatate out to that left-hand side for O'Reilly, to Reo Hatate, looking for O'Reilly, being held off by Gallagher, cleared by Shocknessy. up into the air, out into the north stand in the far side, and it's another throw into Celtic level with the penalty spot, although I think the offside flag's gone up on this near side, so it will actually be a St Mirren free kick deep inside their own half on 32.5 minutes. Celtic 1, St Mirren 0. It's Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 0. Chris Stokes with the goal, and Giannelli and Smith have hearts on easy street at Tynecastle, leading Aberdeen by 2-0 as they look to solidify their place in third. And as things stand, Packy, Celtic are looking at a 12-point gap at the top of the Premiership. People can see Rangers coming back from 9 behind, with, of course, the goal disparity as well. There's surely no way back from 12 points. If anyone still thinks that they've still got an opportunity, I know Rory's one of those who does, they can ill afford to lose that game tonight behind at Rugby Park.
Yeah, but I think there's a long way to go in this game yet. They're only half an hour into the first half, and Rangers have shown that they've got a bit of grit about them, and they always come up with something. Of course, they have to score 2 goals to get the 3 points, but it's a long way to go, I would say.
To steal your phrase, any drop points from Rangers tonight, Liam, will be good night, Vienna.
And that's the problem the Rangers have. They can't afford to drop anything at the moment, and that's the pressure that's on them.
Jota low ball across, and Gallagher gets there, but Kyogo just nicked in ahead of him. You've got to be so careful with Kyogo Furuhashi, because although it's a corner, Kyogo could easily have won a penalty there if Gallagher wasn't aware of where he was.
Oh, you've got to go to the ball. You cannot almost wait and then try and attack the ball, and because Kyogo will be in front of you, and absolutely you nearly called it there.
Yeah, he's so dangerous, Kyogo. You just don't get a moment's peace when he's on the pitch, if you're a defender.
I think Celtic, Liam, have now switched on to the way St Mirren have set up, and to be fair to St Mirren, I don't think you can be any braver for a team, you know, like St Mirren coming to Celtic Park in terms of the 2 up front. You've got your middle of the 3 pressing Callum McGregor, but they're almost scared to fully commit to the press just in case they get caught out.
I know what you mean, but when you compare and contrast this St Mirren performance from, say, the Aberdeen one at Pittodrie, for example, albeit that was 0-0 going into the final few minutes, as the long ball comes through, goes in, he's behind the defender, lifts it over the keeper. What a goal! That is magnificent from Kyogo. In he got behind the defender, and he lifts it over Trevor Carson, and Celtic's main man does it again as they look to potentially increase their lead at the top of the Premiership tonight. It is his 17th goal of the season for Kyogo Furuhashi, and it is Celtic 2, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, the pass, they're in behind, and the run, of course, and if you've got a player who will run in behind that there, you can play that ball into space. I just wonder whether the goalkeeper was a little bit too far back starting point. No, probably I'm doing him a bit this service there by saying that, because it was a wonderful finish too. Awareness where the goalkeeper was, just to lift it up over him. There is a goal check whether he's offside, because he was way in behind the defender. I just wonder whether he is slightly offside, but
no, check's over, yeah. Goal stands.
Wow, that was a quick check.
I tell you what though, he's by far and away, in my opinion, the best striker in the country. He is, his movement, his first touch, so good inside the box. His awareness there, I don't even think he looks at Carson, he just knows where he is. But that delivery of pass as well, the timing of it, and it's the perfect timing of the run. And I tell you what, the finish is absolutely magnificent from Kyogo.
Yeah.
Suddenly St Mirren perhaps switching to damage limitation mode. Here they come again, Celtic. Hatate, Jota rolls it to Abada on the near side, fires it across, blocked by Tanser. The Celtic fans want a penalty.
No penalty.
Tanser was trying to do everything to make sure it didn't come off his arm as it goes out for a Celtic corner on this near side. This could get very ugly for the Paisley side very quickly here, as it does sometimes to visiting teams.
Well, listen, we discussed it before the game, didn't we, about incremental timings, and now they're 2-0 down after half an hour, just over half an hour.
In from O'Reilly, flicked away by Dunn, only as far as Abada shoots, and at the back post. They almost managed to turn it home through Jota. Kyogo was there as well. They were queuing up there at the back stick, but it stays Celtic 2, St Mirren 0. Stephen Robinson is not happy.
No, I can't imagine he will be. It's just what you would call a percentage ball. It's not to a man, it's just fed into an area, and Jota is alive at the back stick, and he comes racing in, and he just cannot get enough on it.
And another goal at Rugby Park, Martin Dowden.
Yes, Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 1. A ball came in from the right hand side. It was Fashion Sakala who's most lively for Rangers, pulled the ball across the 6-yard box, and there was Alfredo Morelos around about 8 yards out, just to sweep home fairly easily. Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 1.
37 in here. Remember, that game kicked off at 8 o'clock, so a slightly later start. Rangers back on level terms through Alfredo Morelos as Starfelt lets it trundle out for a goal kick. 2-0 to the champions here. 2-0 to Hearts against Aberdeen at Tynecastle, and that could be a massive result for Hearts in the battle for third, as they look to secure European group stage football again for next season. Jota for Celtic in the far side, rolling it back the way to Hatate, and now with Johnston out to the near side for Abada at the right angle of the box. Jinks on to his left and tries to turn it back towards Johnston. Charles Dunn will get it clear. There's a penalty at Tynecastle, Brian.
Yes, it's a penalty to Hearts. It went to VAR. Willie Collum had a look at the screen. It was a handball by Liam Scales from a corner thrown in by Snodgrass. It's going to be top goal scorer Lawrence Shankland, who's going to take it. 18 goals so far this season. Joe Lewis stands in his line. Shankland steps up, right-footed, scores! Hearts 3, Aberdeen 0. 40 minutes on the clock at Tynecastle.
Wow, Lawrence Shankland couldn't buy a goal at Aberdeen. He's come on leaps and bounds since then, and Hearts are running amok there against Aberdeen at Tynecastle. The Dons, just 2 changes from the side that started that semi-final on Sunday. I was quite surprised about that, but then not too many options in the bench because of injuries, and the squad isn't big enough when you compare it to Hearts one. And Hearts 3-0 up. What a scoreline that is.
I wonder if Willie Miller has now decided to get away from Alan Preston and sit in the other stand.
Yeah, well,
it's a night of goals, eh?
Yeah, 1-1 at Rugby Park, 2-0 to Celtic here, and Celtic looking for more. It is Johnston on this near side.
Since Ange Postecoglou's made that slight change, Gogic has got a graveyard shift to get out to Alistair Johnson, and it's causing Charles Dunn a huff to break his defensive line. He came into the middle of the pitch, and it's absolutely killing St Mirren. And Celtic have dominated the game since Postecoglou's done that.
Yeah, and just to pick up on that, on the opposite side, Juranovic is much more comfortable coming into the inverted fullback position and allowing Hatate to drop out there and get the ball when they're building from the back.
Here is Callum McGregor picking up wide in the right, level with the St Mirren penalty spot. Back to Johnston, and now McGregor. McGregor looks up at the St Mirren box, plays it short to Hatate. Hatate rolls it back to Kobayashi. Heading towards the final 5 minutes of the first half here. It is Celtic with O'Reilly to Johnston wide in the right. Low ball cut out by Dunn and out for a throw-in to Celtic on this near side. Level with the St Mirren penalty spot.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Kobayashi too, and his quality of passing from the back is really sharp and accurate, and
going into the game, hasn't he, Packy?
Very comfortable on the ball, and I think that's his real forte. And well, we spoke about maybe the lack of inches for a centre half. He makes up for it in that part, and I think that's where Celtic, I think the manager wants to play from the back, you know, and they're the ones that start everything.
That Morelos equaliser for Rangers, incidentally, just his 6th goal of the season. As that sliced clearance from Dunn goes out for a Celtic throw, and that after Chris Stokes gave Kilmarnock the lead. Here is Kyogo on the right hand side, chip ball into the box. Carson's fortunate there's nobody behind him. That was clever from Kyogo. Carson was backpedaling a little bit there with Jota creeping in at the back post. Well, he's a little bit fortunate. 41 played, 2-0 Celtic.
Yeah, I don't think he expected him to cross it so quickly, but he picked up maybe a little bit of a wrong position because he got caught on his near post, and the ball's between, just outside the 18-yard box, about 3 or 4 yards, maybe a yard further back, and he would have dealt with easily.
Gogic challenging Johnston. Celtic fans didn't like that, as O'Reilly's barged to the ground by Dunn. No free kick. That certainly looked more of a free kick than the Gogic one a few seconds before, as it goes out of play for a throw-in on this near side for Celtic. Celtic fans not happy. Their team's 2-0 up and bossing it though, and bossing the top of the Premiership too. As McGregor picks up right of the centre circle and rolls it back to Kobayashi as we close in on 42 minutes, with Celtic leading 2-0, Hearts leading 3-0, Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 1, in the 3 rearranged Premiership matches this evening. Scottish Cup, 4th round this weekend, and it all kicks off back here in Glasgow's East End as Celtic take on Green at Morton. Then there's 12 3 o'clock kickoffs before St Johnstone Rangers kicks off at 5:30. Sunday, Edinburgh Derby, Hibs Hearts meeting in the Scottish Cup yet again, 2 o'clock kickoff. Monday night, Darvel Aberdeen. The Celtic Park match, the Darvel match, both live on BBC television. The rest fully covered here on Sportsound. Jota for Celtic to the byline, left foot cross comes in, and it's met by O'Reilly but not flush, and it comes off his forehead and out to the right hand side of the box for Abada.
Yeah, Charleston did quite well there actually, because it was a perfect ball for O'Reilly, just Jota getting to the byline and just clipping it up onto that sort of almost 7 or 8 yards out, with O'Reilly coming in from his central position in midfield.
McGregor getting it from Starfelt, skipping in field, rolling it with the left foot to Hatate, looks up at the box, pokes it out to Jota, level with the penalty spot, just inside the St box on the left hand side, out to Hatate, sweeps it infield to McGregor. It goes back to Kobayashi, who steps away from Main and rolls it out to this near side. Final 2 minutes of the regulation 45 here. Celtic leading 2-0. Abada and Kyogo are the goal scorers. That comes back to Joe Hart. Kyogo and Shanklin both scoring tonight, up to 16 goals apiece. The top goal scorers in the Premiership this season. Starfelt plays it forward, it's cut out by Scott Tanzer, who lifts it forward down the left-hand side touchline. Ayunga gives chase, Starfelt gets it away, but that second Celtic goal has just knocked the stuffing right out of St Mirren, because they responded really well to going 1 down.
Yeah, they did, and you know, I know you could probably look at any goal and say you can defend it, but you know, it's more acceptable to lose a goal like that from St Mirren's point of view than it is the first one, because the first one was a bit of a shocker really when you do analyse it all, despite the fantastic finish from Abada. But St Mirren have really struggled since the first kind of 15-20 minutes when they were causing a few problems for Celtic, and Celtic are dominating proceedings now.
Yeah, I mean, the pass from Hatate for Kyogo for the second goal was magnificent. The finish was just outstanding. I mean, that's a guy in form, finishing that one.
He's so sharp.
Yeah.
Like I love watching him. I really do. I think he's top class, Kyogo. You know,
he never stops. You know, look at him now. He's just closing the goalkeeper down. You know, when you talk about work rate and obviously the ability that he has and the quality that he has when he gets inside the box into a position, but it's almost as sharpness too and work rate that I think is the bit that I'm very impressed with, Rory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think he's fantastic. I really do. I just think he's so intelligent, and you can tell he's got that understanding with O'Reilly and Hatate and McGregor that when he makes these runs, he's going to get the ball, because a lot of strikers, when they make these runs 2-3 times and they don't get it, they stop doing it. However, with Kyogo, he never stops, and the quality into him is so good.
A minute of injury time. Hatate's not getting to that pass from Johnston. He goes behind for a St Mirren goal kick. Another goal at Tynecastle. Brian McLaughlin.
It's now Heart of Midlothian 4, Aberdeen 0. Josh Ginnelly with the second of the evening. The ball played into the box by Shanklin this time, and Ginnelly nipped in front of the Dons defender to plop the ball over the Aberdeen goalkeeper Joe Lewis. So we're deep into stoppage time in the first half. It's now Hearts 4, Aberdeen 0.
That is absolutely stunning, that scoreline. 4-0 to Hearts.
Welcome back Joe Lewis into the pressure pot. I've got to say it's tough.
Kellarouche has been #1 goalkeeper for Jim Goodwin this season. I think he looks as though he's going to be out for at least 3 months. So he's needing to sign a new keeper, but right now he's having to go back to Joe Lewis. He's had to pick the ball out of his net no fewer than 4 times in that first half at Tynecastle. The first half here at Celtic Park's all over. It's definitely all over at Tynecastle. You would think it's all over here as well by the interval. Celtic leading by 2-0. The opener from Abada in 15 minutes. They'd 3 bites at it, Celtic. Abada eventually thumped it home. Kyogo 20 minutes later, 10 from half-time, lifting it over the keeper. It's a magnificent finish, which was equalled by the pass by Reo Hatate to find his countryman. Kyogo lobbing it over Trevor Carson into the net for 2-0. They've had other chances as well, have Celtic. St Mirren actually performed pretty well for the opening half hour of the game, despite the fact they were 1-0 down after 15. They reacted very well to that. But for the Saints fans who are here and those listening in, unfortunately for them, the second goal really has finish their chances. It's certainly, you could tell by the body language, they could barely string passes together as Celtic hunted down a third. You suspect, unless there's a sea change in the second half, that they will eventually get that third goal, because as their mantra, they never stop. Half-time here, the champions in the driving seat. Celtic 2, St Mirren 0.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
So Celtic in command in the east end of Glasgow. Abada and Kyogo with the goals there. 2-0 it is against St Mirren. What a scoreline from Tynecastle. We'll join up with our commentary team shortly. I see there are some reports, some suggestions of a Graham Shinney own goal for the first Hearts goal. I thought the ball came off him, but then Ginnelly had poked it in. We might get our television colleagues to check that for us if we can, to determine whether or not it was an own goal for the first. But anyway, Ginnelly certainly got the fourth. In between times, Michael Smith and Lawrence Shanklin deadly from the penalty spots. So as the boys were saying there, Joe Lewis back on the side, certainly not at fault with any of the goals. But what a scoreline. Hearts 4, Aberdeen 0. And the latest score in the game at Rugby Park, remember that kicked off at 8 o'clock. It is Kilmarnock 1 at Rangers 1. Chris Stokes with the early goal for Kilmarnock. Alfredo Morelos with the equaliser for Rangers, which came midway through the half. Been chances for both sides in that one. Craig Levine with me here in the studio, getting a bit googly-eyed watching the three matches coming through. He's not used to this. As I look up at the screen, we were talking about the fact Aberdeen had a good away support there. I think the Aberdeen away support will be diminished in the second half by the looks of things. Quite a few. No, they may just be going for a half-time pie, but they looked somewhat forlorn. It looked like they may be looking to move out. Now we'll get thoughts from Craig on what he's been watching in the first 45 minutes, but let's hear from our commentary team, because it has been sensational. First 45 minutes at Tynecastle. Alan Preston, Willie Miller and Paul Mitchell.
Well, what a first half it has been at Tynecastle. Hearts 4, Aberdeen 0. Hearts scoring more than 3 against Aberdeen for the first time in almost 13 years. The opening goal came from a long throw-in from Hearts' new signing James Hill. Josh Ginnelly claimed the final touch. I think it came off Graham Shinney, and Hearts were 1 goal to the good. Then after 28 minutes, Hearts made it 2-0. A pass from the left-hand side from Toby Sibbick. I think he'd spotted the fact that Hayden Coulson had come up the park. He played it beautifully over his head. Michael Smith raced in. His first touch was excellent. His second touch, sublime, and he curled the ball past Joe Lewis to make it 2-0. Aberdeen were in all sorts of trouble. Hearts got a corner. The ball came in. Liam Scales, I thought it touched the ball with his arm, and then it glanced the Hearts player to go behind. But bizarrely, nobody claimed for a penalty. Then Willie Collum moved back into the middle, waiting for the restart, stopped the game. Then the VAR check came up, and basically the penalty was given. Liam Scales wasn't particularly amused by it, and I say Hearts didn't particularly claim for it. Lawrence Shanklin, though, sent Lewis the wrong way, really thumped the penalty low into the left-hand corner to make it 3-0 to Hearts. His 11th successful penalty out of 11 this season. And when you thought it couldn't get any worse for Aberdeen, it did. Josh Ginnelly with a lovely little dink after Shanklin set him up on that far side. It was clipped in, beautifully finished by Josh Ginnelly. Aberdeen have had arguably one chance. Majowski had gone through, looked like he was going to pull the trigger, and somehow Sibbick got back and touched the ball off his toes. It's been a remarkable first half here at Tynecastle. Hearts 4, Aberdeen 0.
Right, we'll let Paul just have a wee bit of a breather. Alan and Willie are there alongside him. Alan, we talked beforehand about just how intimidating an atmosphere it can be at Tynecastle, particularly if the home side get their noses in front early on. It's just been a dream 45 minutes for them, hasn't it?
Richard, that's as good a 45 minutes I've seen at Tynecastle in many, many years. And I would go to say they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Not a failure in their side, as where you look at Aberdeen, a lot of people not turning up tonight, I'm afraid for them. And once they went 1-0 down, the game was all gone for them. They just looked as if they'd had enough, even at an early stage. First goal's a simple one, long throw-in, flicked on goal. And if the second goal, if there's a better pass this season in Scottish football than Toby Sibbick's to Michael Smith, I've yet to see it. There's been some great stuff this year in Scottish football, but what a pass. It was about 60 yards, right onto his toe, and Michael Smith, one touch to control, bent it into the corner for 2-0. The penalty, Paul seen it, I didn't, but I've had a look at it, and I think it was. You maybe be able to tell us.
No,
definitely.
Yeah, clear penalty, yeah. And then obviously the fourth goal was a wonderful team goal taken. Zander Klatt starts it, collecting a corner, and it's a team goal from left to right. Lovely run by Shanklin, good ball in and a wonderful finish. And Aberdeen are lucky it's 4 because Mackay's had a chance at the edge of the box as well. This could get really, really ugly for Aberdeen, but as far as Hearts are concerned, that is nothing short of sensational, that opening 45 minutes.
Hearts, clearly Willie Miller Hearts very well deserving of it. For Aberdeen, it's just another away day horror story to add to the ones at Tannadice and Easter Roads and Ibrox and a few other places over the course of the last few months.
Yeah, there's a whole long list of them now, Richard, you know, and certainly away from home. They just don't perform at all. You know, it's been brilliant from Hearts, and no way can you take anything away from them. The movement has been good, the link-up play excellent, and the finishing, you know, top-notch. But Aberdeen defensively has been all over the place. I mean, Coulson, I've said that throughout the season, very good young player going forward. Can't really defend, you know, and it's not as though it's going to be surprising that one of the 3 front players from Hearts is going to run in behind the fullbacks. That's what they do. But you've got to do something to stop them. They didn't. The first goal was just disastrous for them, just a long throw-in. That sets the standard. They're suffering from the semi-final, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of players out there, I think, are feeling sorry for themselves. There's virtually no leaders whatsoever on the field of play. And it's just a horror story the first 45 minutes. It could get really embarrassing. A lot of the fans have gone. It looks as though they've gone home, back up to Aberdeen. So brilliant from Hearts, absolutely brilliant. 4 goals, exciting stuff for the home fans. As far as Jim Goodwin and Aberdeen's concerned, that will be their 11th defeat of the season, Richard. It's not good enough.
No, well, it clearly isn't, especially when you think of the investments that has been made in the squad. I'm told by our television colleagues that it looks like it was an own goal by Graham Shinney to start things off. I mean, that you talk about poor defending, Willie. It was comical what happened in the box then, with the ball eventually bouncing off Shinney. It did look initially as if Ginelli had got a touch, but I'm told it's gone in off the Aberdeen player. So not the ideal start, but from there on, look, Hearts have just made the most of getting that little stroke of fortune in that case. The football they have played has been outstanding, and much as it probably pains you, Willie, they do very much look the third force in Scottish football right now, don't they?
Aberdeen have gone, Richard, you know, the excitement that I was feeling in Pittodrie in particular, you know, and there have been some excellent performances at Pittodrie, but if you can't get victories away from home, if you look like a team that simply can't do anything on the road, then you're not going to finish third, are you? You know, in this form that they're showing tonight, it's bottom 6 form. So, you know, it's a big half-time team talk. He's going to need experienced players, the players that he hopes have got a little bit of character out there in the second half to try and turn it round and, you know, at least not lose any more goals, you know, because if it does start to mount up, if he loses another 1 or 2 in the second half, then it is really embarrassing. And you know the pressure that came on Jim Goodwin, you know, after the 4 in a row defeats, and that pressure hasn't gone away, so he needs something to, you know, just in the second half to reassure the fans that there is a little bit of fight in this team, because so far we've seen 0 fight from this Aberdeen side.
Yeah, just watching it again, it's not definitive, but our television colleagues have seen a few different angles, I guess. Graham Shinney own goal. Michael Smith, Craig, Alan described that Toby Civic pass as probably the best we're going to see all season long. It was outstanding. What about the left foot finish of Michael Smith?
I was going to say, did Michael not put the icing on the cake? I mean, the pass was sublime, but the touch, especially his first touch, and I know the second touch provided the goal, but the first touch was absolutely brilliant. It was just a brilliant goal, and Hearts have been unbelievably clinical in their finishing. I mean, I think they've scored with 4 chances. I can only remember one.
Well, it was Barry Mackay.
Barry Mackay shot wide from just outside the box, and they've had some really good bits of play, but no other chances. So I think they've been, you know, they've been superb in their finishing, and the goals have been. I mean, the first one, we thought it was Ginelli had gone, but it does look like it's gone off Shinney, and actually, I don't know if it hits his hand or something. So maybe Hearts should have had a penalty and a goal.
I think you can probably be quite happy with what you've got so far. Clear penalty
You've
for...
got to defend the throw, though.
Yeah, totally. And they didn't.
You've got to defend the throw. You know, and I would have imagined that Stewart would have been there if he was available.
That's one thing he would have done, he'd put his head on it.
He would have, he'd have put his head on it. And that then sets the pattern. Where was Coulson for the Civic pass, though? Well, he's up the park, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
You know, so... You know, you can't do that. You're right, Tynecastle. You know, I watched Aberdeen at Ibrox as well, and the tactics that were employed there were tactics that were inviting Rangers to win that game, and it's the same. It's the same tonight. You know, both full-backs are way up the park. You know that Hearts are going to try to exploit that semi-wide area. It's not touchline area, but it's between centre-back and full-back. And unless you set your team up to combat that, then you're going to be exposed. And that's what's happened. You know, 4 goals at half-time, and Craig saying they've only had 5 chances. 5 chances in 45 minutes, Craig. Come on, where are the defenders?
What I was trying to point out was the fact how clinical Hearts have been. Yeah. But, I mean, Aberdeen have been terrible. Yeah. Now, other than Miovski's chance, which I thought he should have done better with, but I think you've got to say well done to Civic, because he did get back and make a challenge. But Aberdeen have been woeful. Yeah, they've been terrible. Hearts have been outstanding. It's 4. I wonder what the full-time whistle is going to be. Quite often, when it's this kind of margin at half-time, that tends to end the scoring. And just maybe one more goal or something. Yeah. But anyway, if Hearts come out firing as they do, or they did, and Aberdeen come out defending as they did, then it could yet be a lot more than it is right now. Still playing at Rugby Park. Martin Dowden, tell us the latest.
Yeah, in the final minute of the first half, it's still Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 1, and pretty much a half of 2 halves rather than a game of 2 halves. What a start it was from Kilmarnock right from the off. Similar to that semi-final against Celtic, except this time it brought the crucial goal. It was Chris Stokes who rose to reach a corner. He thumped home from 6 yards. They had chances around that. Ash Taylor just missing at the back post as the defender got a crucial touch. And then Taylor again with a header. It was just off target. Rangers offered very little in those stages, but gradually after the goal got going, the brightest on show for them was Fashion Sakala. It was he who stole in behind down the right, exposed Stokes, sent an accurate ball across, and with the defence all at sea, Alfredo Morelos placed it right in the corner. Michael Beale's side looked far more in control without overly threatening after that, though McLaughlin definitely has been the busier of the goalkeepers, and Kyle Vassell had a shot in the turn just a few minutes ago, full of power but straight at the goalkeeper. 1 minute of additional time to go here. It's still Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 1.
League positions and divisions can sometimes be immaterial when days like today come along. You just don't want to be that manager. You've just got the big curly finger to say what happened there.
The Scottish Cup 4th round is almost here. Catch the live action on BBC Radio Scotland and the BBC Scotland channel.
It's a low corner, it's flicked in, brilliantly taken.
And there's plenty of tantalising ties in store.
Hibernian, of course, who are they playing?
17.
Hearts off Midlothian. An Edinburgh derby.
Beginning Saturday at 11:30 with Celtic versus Greenock Morton.
Chance to finish the game, and that'll do it.
Listen on digital radio or ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
So remember, what a brilliant weekend it's going to be in the Scottish Cup, right the way across TV and radio. There will be live continuing commentary from Rugby Park. It's half-time now. Kilmarnock 1 at Rangers 1. That's going to be online. Remember, bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. You also get Hearts against Aberdeen there in the second half as well. Live here on Sports and on the radio. It is live commentary to come from Celtic against St Mirren.
All the action.
What a moment! From all the biggest games.
This is Sports Sound.
Oh, it's a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Another goal! Hello again from Celtic Park. Liam McLeod here with Paddy Bonner and Rory Loy for the second half of Celtic against St Mirren. 2-0 to the champions ahead of this next 45 minutes. Can St Mirren make a fist of it? Or will Celtic leave them in their rear view mirror, as they do with so many teams here on their own patch? Just one defeat in 51 league games. It's a magnificent record. And that goes all the way back to the defeat at Livingston a year past September. It is Celtic in the green and white hoop shirts. So you get the second half underway, going right to left against St Mirren in their change colours, the mostly black with white flashes. No changes for either team at the half-time interval as Gogic tries to win it in the midfield, and it's enough pressure on. Ayunga can't control, and then Kobayashi plays it straight off Ayunga, drops back towards the Celtic box for Callum McGregor. We'll roll it back to Hart, who does start in goal for Celtic. It is Johnston, Starfelt, Kobayashi and Juranovic at the back. O'Reilly, McGregor, Hatate, Abada and Jota with Kyogo. For St Mirren, Ayunga's taken a sore one there, and the referee just coming over to make sure the big St Mirren number 7's okay. It's Carson in goal, Gallagher, Shaughnessy and Dunn. Strain and Tanser wide, Bacchus, Gogic, Erehon, Ayunga and Main. I barely mentioned Ethan Erehon today. He's just not been in the game at all, and he could easily have not been in a St Mirren shirt at all nowadays. They move down south, falling through. Just can't get in the game. St Mirren can't get the midfield in the game.
No, they can't get a hold of the ball for a long period, but he's been given a different type of job, isn't he? You know, he's been almost asked to push from a central midfield position.
That's great pressure by Curtis Main over on the far side. Joe Hart has to come to the right-hand side of his box, gets it clear down the line. Tanser clipping it forward, Main's in an offside position. As the header's not decisive either, and Erehon, I've just mentioned, is fighting for it with Johnston, who eventually gets it clear. Celtic under a bit of pressure here, but Callum McGregor picks up the edge of his box, rolls it back to his keeper. Kobayashi makes himself some space and picks up the left-hand side, and he turns it forward to Reo Hatate, who'll turn it out to Juranovic on this near side. Across the halfway line goes Josip Juranovic. He's got Jota on the left-hand side, level with the 18-yard line, on the right foot. Then onto the left, back onto the right. Chip ball comes to the 18-yard area for Johnston. Johnston then out to the right-hand touchline for Abada, who got Celtic's first. Kyogo got the other, and it's Abada attacking the St Mirren box on that right-hand side again. Skipping infields away from Gogic, turns the ball across the penalty spot for Kyogo, fighting for it. Bacchus gets in the way, breaks to O'Reilly, shoots, deflected up high into the air, onto the roof of the net, and it will eventually, I think, be given as a
free kick
to St Mirren inside their own box. Celtic 2, St Mirren 0 on 47 and a half.
Yeah, free kick. It was Kyogo, I think, just pulled back. He can almost lost control when the ball was pulled back to him, and he was on the wrong side of the defender, and he kind of pulled him back, trying to win the ball back, and ended up giving away the free kick. Just takes a little bit of heat off St Mirren for a while, and they'll knock this long up the pitch.
Stephen Robinson's message at half-time, Rory, to his players.
I think he'll want to suggest to them that the first 10-15 minutes of the first half, he'll want more of the same and a little bit more belief. But I think the problem is that the tactical tweak from Postecoglou, which we've spoken about, is had a huge impact on the game. I think he needs to try and get his fullbacks, if he wants to have an impact on the game, further up the pitch, but that comes with its own risks. So I think it would be taking a degree of confidence for the first 15 minutes and then trying to fix a few little details within the shape.
Bacchus on the near side wins a throw-in for his team, the Australia international. They had a fine World Cup in Qatar in the late autumn, early winter. Australia made it out of the group. Aaron Moy in the Celtic bench more than played his part as well. So Tati picks up Bacchus, wins it back, comes off McGregor and out for a throw-in on the near side to Saints. Trailing Celtic by 2-0. Strain with the throw. The Celtic fans felt that was a foul throw. St Mirren play on Erehon. Now it's with Ayunga, moves it back to Erehon, right of the centre circle. Left foot switch of play out to Tanser, wide on the left. Takes a touch, gets the cross in. Headed away by Starfelt. We'll come back to Tanser on the far side, and he pushes it back onto halfway for Dunn. Dunn goes long with the left foot. Juranovic underneath it, clears with the right foot, only as far as Bacchus. Plays it short to this right-hand side. Strain bends it, it's a good ball, and it's cleared by Johnston from the back post out to this near side of the penalty area, and they can't keep it in place. And Celtic have a throw-in. That's a really good ball into the Celtic box, that.
Yeah, and it was matched by the clearance, because it's his weaker side, and he's coming in, and he's got Ayunga breathing down his neck, and Main jumping for it in front of him. He does extremely well, but the ball in was top class as well, we must say. I think it was Ayunga who stuck it into the box. Apologies, Bacchus, they stuck it in the box. But yeah, Tanser on the other side hitting the first man previous to that. But that's where St Mirren will get their joy, if they are to get any in this game. It's from wider areas and crosses into the box.
And a good signing, Keanu Bacchus, but it's Celtic on the ball with Hatate midway inside the St Mirren half. Pokes it out to Johnston. An attacking role now, level with the penalty spot. As he plays it short back to Hatate and infield for McGregor. Then back to Hatate over on that right-hand side. Infield to McGregor. McGregor jinking forward, rolls it with the left foot. Chance here for Juranovic. Plays it out to the left. Jota's low ball across is cut out. Back with Juranovic now. To McGregor. To Jota. Finds McGregor, level with the 6-yard line of the St Mirren box. Jota leaves it, gets it back from Juranovic, plays it across the face. St Mirren get it half away, and eventually Shockness is there to clear. Wonderful build-up play by Celtic.
Yeah, beautiful little combination of passes, movement, 1-2 to get in. Almost a dummy that he played with a defender and just carried on his run and got in behind the defence. And Kyogo, I think, missed it, didn't he?
He did, but the movement from Jota was unbelievable. Strained, tied in knots, and the ball was nowhere near them.
Jota's cross with the left. It's just a bit too high for O'Reilly, one of the taller players on the pitch. He got something on it. Drops to the right-hand side of the box. Low ball in is cut out and cleared. There's Abada. Rolled it towards the penalty spot. St Mirren get it away. 2-0 Celtic on 51 minutes here. Still 4-0 Hearts at Tynecastle. That Kilmarnock Rangers game at half-time at 1-1. It is Celtic in possession with Johnston. Rolls it to Hatate on that right-hand side with O'Reilly now level with the penalty spot. He's in the box now. Gets the overlap from Hatate. Just bobbled underneath his foot there as it comes off Charles Dunn. Is that gone for a goal kick or corner? Goal kick, says the referee, in conjunction with the assistant Graham McNeely over on the far side, and it stays at Celtic 2, St Mirren 0 on almost 52.
Celtic are so good middle to front pack, aren't they? Yeah. So good.
It's the movement. It's the movement. It's not the player on the ball, brilliant, but the options he has and the movement off the ball, and then they've got that technical ability to just pick their little passes, and they understand their movement, each other's movement also. And that time, Hatate just left the ball behind him. Otherwise, he had 2-3 players in the box to just pick out.
Flick from Ayunga. Kobayashi's there. He finds Juranovic. He's under pressure. He's had it pinched off him by Jonah Ayunga. Poor ball from him. He was looking for Main. He's given it straight to Hatate instead. And now Celtic are flooding forward. Across halfway goes Hatate. Right foot, side foot ball down the left-hand side of the box for Jota. Low ball in for Kyogo! And that is what you call a counter-attacking move as Kyogo finds the net, but the flag goes up on the far side. They will check it, but that was an explosive break by the champions. It stays at 2-0 for now.
That's what Celtic can do to you. One mistake in your own half and they're on you like a rash. I think it was Juranovic who ran forward with the ball, gave it to Hatate. He carried it on, and then the ball from Jota across the face of goal is right on the striker's toe. Magnificent ball across the face, and as we're talking about, middle to front, they're so good as the check for offside goes on.
Yeah, and you know, it's going to be a very, very tight one, because you know the ball's played into a space and the player's coming on to it. You know, is he offside? Is he ahead of Jota as Jota plays the ball from that angle?
Well, we're hearing this is very tight, so this could go either way. Have Celtic got their third?
Kyogo's reaction's interesting. The first goal that he scored, he was pretty confident, I think, that he was onside. I don't think he's quite as sure this time.
What a counter it was, though. It really was. There's the traditional reaction when the VAR decision
offside
is an instant. Yeah, it's been given, yeah, offside. Oh no, it has been given! It has been given! And Kyogo takes the plaudits! They took their time over it, but Celtic have their third goal! And it does come from the most outstanding of counter-attacking moves by the champions. And Kyogo Furuhashi takes his goal tally to 18. It is Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, and I think just reading the screen, it says I can almost check in an offside goal.
I didn't see checking back. I'm convinced it said that the goal was offside.
Yeah, we were a bit confused with what was up on the screen, to be honest. But obviously the referee wasn't looking at that. He was listening to what was going in on his ear. And I'm not so sure. They're kind of almost delayed.
Look, see when it comes to things like there's dubiety over the handball rule just now. That's been discussed ad nauseum. But when it comes to offside decisions, that's when VAR comes into it. So yeah. I know it can be frustrating for fans, if it's taking a while, that took probably about 90 seconds, something like that. Still not quick enough for the supporters. But as long as they're coming to the correct decision, then that's the main thing.
I agree, Liam. And, you know, last week there was I think, was it the semi-final? There was a goal. Kyogo was judged offside, and it was a right decision. It was a big decision at the time. And yeah, and it's an easier one to call, to be honest, because you're dealing with angles, you're dealing with lines, you're dealing with cameras, and there's no really interpretation of it, to be honest.
No, it's black and white, and there's so many rules with grey areas these days. It's just the screen came up there. I was convinced it said that. Must have misread it. Apologies.
Do you know, Rory, we're talking about the VAR, but we should be talking about the move from Celtic, because once St Mirren errors, you're saying deep inside Celtic territory, by the way, and Celtic went up the other end of the park, a sweeping move. I think 3 players involved, and Kyogo was there to knock it home.
That's why it'll frustrate, Packy, Stephen Robinson as well, because they actually won the ball back off Juranovic high up the pitch, then continued to give the ball away. I think it was Strain, and Celtic are up the other end, and the ball's in the net before you can blink.
Yeah, and it's the quickness of Kyogo also, you know, to call him offside, because normally you would think he is offside because he gets in so quickly and left, I think it was Charles Dunn for dead, and just he couldn't cope with him.
St Mirren pressing. There was just in the wake of that goal being awarded after the VAR check there was a few very young Celtic fans made their way onto the pitch. Callum McGregor ushered them off, and I think they tried to escape in the main stand somewhere here, because the stewards are looking for them by the look of it.
They were very young, weren't they?
They were, yeah. I mean,
they weren't your normal people
that
runs onto the pitch during the game.
Yeah, it must have been about 10 or 11. There were 3 of them. Anyway, they'll be in hot water. Shaughnessy goes back to Gallagher. 3-0 to Celtic, then 57 minutes played. And any hopes that St Mirren had mounting a comeback have surely been extinguished now under the lights here in Glasgow's East End. Still 4-0 to Hearts against Aberdeen. The second half at Rugby Park will be getting underway shortly, as Hatate plays it back to Kobayashi. 1 apiece between Kilmarnock and Rangers. Right now, Celtic looking at an 11-point lead at the top of the Premiership, plus the goal difference, which they are eager to add to here. Abada knocking it in field. Dunn's there, though. It comes back to Declan Gallagher, who goes back to his goalkeeper, and Carson boots it away with the left foot. We're approaching the 10-year anniversary of St Mirren's famous win over Celtic at Hampden in the League Cup semi-finals. Of course, the 10th anniversary of their lifting of that trophy, which is coming up in a couple of months. No joy for them here tonight, though, as Gogic knocks it out to Curtis Maiden, level with 18, 58 played. Looks up at the Celtic box and crosses in. It's nodded back by Oyunga, straight to Callum McGregor, though, and he finds Hatate, and here they come again. Hatate's floaty ball this time, though, is poor, and it goes straight to Gallagher. Not what he intended.
No, he doesn't do that too often.
Well, someone's been huckled out down below us. Didn't see who it was. Is it it's one of the youngsters, I think, who is being dealt with. I think some of the fans around us were hoping they'd be lenient with them. It's throw into St Mirren here, midway inside the Celtic half. So when you see what happened to Aaron Ramsdale, the Arsenal goalkeeper, I know these are 3 very young guys who've come onto the pitch, but you can't take any chances with that.
No, you can't. Seen that was outrageous.
Yeah. Strain on the near side for St Mirren, and now it's picked up by Juranovic. Jota and Hatate can't get onto it. The Riley does. Blocked by Erehon, but blocked by the hand of Erehon. 59 minutes played, Celtic 3, St Mirren 0. Last we heard 4-0 to Hearts. I've had a message, Brian, from someone telling me it should have been 5 though. How's the game going?
Yeah, it should have been 5. It was a wonderful move down the right hand side. Giannelli with a cross, and Shanklin with a neat flick behind him. The ball came off the post. Eventually the Aberdeen defence cleared. Aberdeen, you have to say, been much better in the second period. They've made one change. Johnny Hayes has been replaced. Vincente Beswin has come on.
Here's Hatate for Celtic, just over the crossbar from the edge of the box, and it will stay at 3-0. Brian, sorry, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, Aberdeen have been much better in the second period, much more composed, but it's a long, long way back. And as you said earlier on, there's not too many of those Aberdeen fans, or maybe 400 or 500 of them still staying here. However, I think it's more in hope than expectation.
I would have thought so, yeah. 4-0. to Hearts. And that's a real mullering for Jim Goodwin. He's had a few of them away from home this season. As Curtis Mains caught by Starfelt, and it's a free kick, no booking for the Swedish defender.
He's lucky.
Yeah.
He's lucky because he won the first one very well, but then almost rush of blood in the second one when the ball was knocked back up. He was never going to win. His timing was all out.
It's usually around this time Postecoglou looks and makes 3 or 4 subs. It'll be interesting to see if he does do that.
Yeah, the bench for Celtic, Baines a sub-keeper, Haksabanovic, Moy, Turnbull, Iwata, Maida, Forrest, Ralston and Welsh. Tony Ralston back after that spell out injured. Greg Kilty's going to come on for St Mirren just now, incidentally. And yeah, they're going to make 3 changes. Grieve is going to come on, Richard Taylor's going to come on, and Greg Kilty. And off comes Bacchus, Dunn and Ayunga, Rory. I guess just giving some guys the opportunity to come on and freshen things up a little bit.
Yeah,
you don't want this to turn into 4 or 5.
No, you don't. I mean, I don't think Stephen Robinson's expected to get anything out of the game, that's for sure. I mean, Grieve can nick a goal and Kilty's creative, but I think you're right, Liam. I think it's getting guys game time, maybe having a little tweak of the formation, see what other guys can bring ahead of their next game. But this game's well and truly over in terms of the competitive edge to it.
A couple of youngsters on the St Mirren bench tonight. Luke Kenny, centre back, 19, who's been on loan at East Kilbride recently, and Fraser Taylor, who turned 19 yesterday, a local guy from Johnston. He's a left winger, he's also on the bench. But it's Richard Taylor, new signing, who's come on along with Kilty and the New Zealander Grieve. Goal at Tynecastle, Brian.
Hearts 5, Aberdeen 0. Cammy Devlin with his first goal for the club. He muscled out the 2 Aberdeen defenders, then drilled a left foot show low beyond Joe Lewis. Another plate here at Tynecastle. Hearts 5, Aberdeen 0.
5-0. You do wonder how many goals Hearts need to score for there had to be a difficult decision to be made there, because Jim Goodwin was under pressure and relieved it with a win over St Johnstone recently, and then the performance against Rangers in the League Cup semi-final at the weekend, and it breathed a little bit more life into things. But 5-0 down to Hearts, and they're at the same time as us, so just beyond the hour mark. 3-0 Celtic here at St Mirren. Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 1, Stokes and Morelos trading goals. So amidst all of that, right now Rangers are in danger of slipping further behind Celtic at the top. Hearts will move further away from Aberdeen, and indeed Livingston, who are idle this evening. That match against Dundee United postponed. 2 pitch inspections today, one past the one before kick-off failed. The Celtic and forwards pulled back towards Shota in the box and cleared by Joe Shaughnessy out to that far side as it goes out for a throw-in over there for Celtic. Alistair Johnston took the throw-in when he was sitting on the deck.
Yeah, I don't think. Probably should have been a foul throw.
Isn't it? It's a foul throw.
I think it is a foul throw.
Well, he's been given a chance to take it again.
Let him away with it.
I mean, I know Ange Postecoglou doesn't want his team to stop, but they can't do things from sitting positions.
With the introduction of VAR, I've tried to brush up on the rules, but I've no idea whether you're allowed to do that or not.
Clearly not. It's not a foul, though.
Just on the St Mirren subs, no change of shape at all from Stephen Robinson. Alex Greaves come on for Ayunga up front, Kilty's come on in midfield on the right of the 3, and Taylor slotted in at left for the 3 centre-backs in place of Charles Dunn.
It's how to play on this near side for a throw-in for Celtic, down by the corner flag, deep inside St Mirren territory, off Ryan Strain. Goes back to Jaranovic from Hatate, who plays it all the way back here to Kobayashi. He'll be happy if he can help his team to a clean sheet tonight in his debut.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what, you know, if he stays in the team when Carter Vickers comes back, or whether he'll go with a left-sider and a right-sider, and that'll be big decisions. Of course, both of them, Carter Vickers isn't really tall either, and so if you take Starfelt out of the team, you really take away any big height you have at the back.
Celtic have it on the right-hand side of the St Mirren box with Kyogo. Fires it across, cleared by Shaughnessy. Kyogo with 2 goals tonight, closing in on 20 for the season. I think he's targeted 30 for the campaign. Far from beyond him.
Whilst sorry, Liam, think
yeah. Yeah, we're going to get to that in a moment, but Curtis Main driving forward. Starfelt gets there first. Goal at Rugby Park, Martin.
Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 2, and it's Ryan Kent. It was Kilmarnock who had been on the attack, but Kent broke a long ball. He played it across goal. The chance seemed to have been gone as Kilmarnock raced back, but the ball came back out. Kilmarnock didn't clear. Kent seized on it, took his time, and he found the corner. Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 2.
Big goal, that one for Ryan Kent.
Yeah, Liam, you were calling it a bit early in the game.
Wasn't calling it.
Half an hour ago.
I'm merely trying to colour things and, you know, add some drama to the occasion. I was merely speculating when Rangers were behind that Celtic could go 12 points clear at the top, and as it stood, they were. In comes St Mirren, no, and there's a header from Declan Gallagher 6 yards out, which clips the top of the bar, and it will be a goal kick to Celtic. It stays 3-0 to the champions.
I thought it was a save there for a minute.
Did look it, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he got his hand to it, but the referee called it as he didn't, and it goes off.
I think he should score.
Yeah, he should have. Yeah, it was a free header right in the 6-yard box. Again, not like a height from Celtic, not picking up.
The ball in from Strain was magnificent. Flush on the forehead of Gallagher, who's good in those areas. I think he should find a corner there.
There's a chance to give the St Mirren fans something to cheer about. Ryan Kent scoring just his 3rd goal of the season. Goals haven't exactly been free-flowing for him, and that's him got 2 in his last 4, having scored against Celtic at Ibrox at the start of the month. We're in the 67th minute, Celtic 3, St Mirren 0. So Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 2, and Hearts 5, Aberdeen 0.
Yeah, Celtic just getting ready to bring those subs on as we would expect at this stage of the game, and just the game's going into a little bit of a lull from Celtic's perspective now, so that freshen up from a group of really talented players coming off the bench will G them up again, no doubt.
Yeah, just going back to what I was going to say before Liam cut to Rugby Park, I think it would be harsh on Starfelt if he dropped out the team. I know he's prone to the odd mistake, as we've seen in the first half, but his defensive record overall with Cameron Carter-Vickers is outstanding.
Yeah, and that's the challenge, isn't it, for the manager? You know, he knows that he's got a player with Kobayashi that can pass the ball, and I don't think he's given the ball away tonight at all in every single pass he's had.
Yeah, in fairness to Carl Starfelt, he's seen Moritz Jens off so far, hasn't he? Jens not involved tonight, of course, as Celtic come forward. Jota's cross and the header from Abada is comfortable for Carson to hold on to.
Yeah, I just wonder whether Kobayashi could play actually also in the middle of the pitch when it comes to the European games as a defensive player alongside Callum McGregor, because he looks as if he can take the ball also.
Reads the game well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Charles Dunn flipping the ball out wide left here for Tanser. Tanser skipping in field and rolling it here to Erhahon. 68 played. Erhahon out to Taylor on the left hand side. Down the line goes Gogic, and then Tanser back to Erhahon again. Chip ball looking for Curtis Main in the Celtic box, headed clear by Starfelt, picked up by Abada, who's as deep as he's been all night. Comes back to Starfelt, he rolls it out to the right for Johnston. Celtic playing their way out of trouble, and eventually it comes off Erhahon and out for a throw-in to Celtic on the far side. Moy, Turnbull and Forrest will come on for Celtic here. Abada will come off, having taken his goal tally into double figures this season. Tonight he scored the opening goal for Celtic. Kyogo's got the other 2 as Turnbull replaces O'Reilly, and Aaron Moy will come on presumably for Hatate here. Indeed it is. Hatate replaced by Moy. Turnbull and Forrest, 2 Scotland internationals who are operating on the periphery of the Celtic starting 11. They do get the odd go at it. Both excellent players when they make their way on with Aaron Moy. So 3-0 to Celtic as Ange Postecoglou makes those changes.
Well, I don't think, listen, it weakens the team in any way when you bring on 3 players of that ability. Obviously, David Turnbull's the one that just got to try to find a way to almost improve his game. I wouldn't call it improvement, but maybe better tempo, just so we can say, listen, I deserve to be in the team, because he's been out injured for so long and he's just getting himself back. But he would be the one that, but he's given a chance every week now. He's getting a little chance to come off the bench, Rory.
Yeah, he is, and like you say, Packy, he needs to up his game at the end of the day to try and compete with the guys he's playing with. Aaron Moy, Hatate, McGregor. Maybe not so much McGregor in terms of the position that he plays. O'Reilly, yeah. I mean, these guys are top class players, and when Turnbull did have his purple patch, the team probably wasn't in as good a space. So he needs to compete with these guys and up his game and try and score a few goals, because that's what he was known for.
Yeah.
Throw in St Mirren, which Shaughnessy takes, balls it back to Tanser, sweeps a long high ball in towards the back post and just bounces away out to this near side. St Mirren trying to keep it alive with Kilty. Down with the corner flag is the Saints sub, looking for space to cross, plays it off. Juranovic and St Mirren have a corner. We're in the final 20 of the 90 here. Celtic leading by 3-0. Hearts leading Aberdeen by 5-0, and Rangers, having been behind, lead Kilmarnock 2-1 at Rugby Park. These three rearranged matches.
Wee chance for Strain to get a good ball into the box here. Celtic haven't looked overly convincing at the back.
Outswinging delivery coming up from Strain. And it comes. Shaughnessy tried to attack it. Celtic head clear though. Picked up by Kilty on this near side. It's a long ball down the right hand side of the Celtic box, which Ryan Strain gets onto. Down he goes under the challenge of Johnston, but it's a goal kick only to the champions, and it's Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, when you have a set piece out there, it's about the quality into the box as much as getting people on the end of it, and that ball again is bent into that near post. And
at the first back, Kyogo won the header, which sums it up. Absolutely,
and if you're going to have a chance, put it into the right area.
Aaron Moy rolling it for Jota on the near side. Challenge comes from Strain. Picks back onto the halfway line for Juranovic. And now all the way back to Joe Hart. It's been played like a training exercise just now. You can forgive St Mirren for wanting to get out of here. If they can get a goal back, then great, but they don't want it getting any worse. They've got a big cup tie coming up at the weekend against Dundee. Is that the Rory Lloyd derby? One of them?
Yes, one of them. There could be a few at the weekend, to be fair, but that certainly is one of them, Liam, yes.
We always love Scottish Cup 4th round.
Dundee will just be glad it's away from home. They might get a game.
Yeah, I know, another one off this week. Challenge Cup game for the second time against Dunfermline was postponed. Waterlogged pitch, frozen pitch, and obviously problems there as Jota fires it forward for Kyogo. Kyogo's in here, left hand side, plays it across, and Foden scores! Flags up, of course. There'll be another wait here. Jota fired it forward to Kyogo down the left. He's on a hat-trick, but he teed it up for Forrest, who slipped it home into an empty net. And for now it stays at 3, but it was very nearly 4.
Yeah, Kyogo must have been offside now, but what a pass from Jota. He's almost facing the opposite way and just hooks it with quality into space beyond everybody, and it will be checked, of course, and then Kyogo almost unselfishly playing that ball across the 6-yard box. It definitely wasn't Forrest that was offside anyway, but what a goal.
What a pass that is from Hatate. I know Kyogo
was it Hatate or Jota? I think it was
Jota. Hatate's off now.
Jota. Yeah. Apologies. Yeah, Jota. So I mean, everybody thinks he's going out to the right hand side, and a full standing tandem swung their necks to the left as he disguised the pass, and it was unbelievable, but a vision and execution. But we'll wait and see whether it's off or onside.
This one doesn't count, and it stays at 3. James Forrest, that would have been just about his first touch, I think, since coming on.
Just looking at that screen, I'm convinced the checking wasn't there the last time, which confused me, but there you go.
It's been a sending off in the game between Killie and Rangers. Martin Dowden.
Since Kilmarnock now down to 10 men, it's Danny Armstrong who's seen red. I believe that's his second yellow for a challenge on Borna Barisic, who has been holding his face. There's been lots of protestations on the pitch, but the decision has been upheld. We will go underway. It's Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 2, Kilmarnock down to 10.
Well, Danny Armstrong was excellent against Celtic by and large at the weekend in the League Cup semi-final, but sent off tonight against Rangers. So Killie down to 10 and trailing Rangers by 2-1. As things stand, the gap at the top will remain at 9, and Celtic have increased their goal difference advantage as it stands by 2 goals. They lead 3-0. Rangers lead by just the one at 2-1. Hearts continuing to lead Aberdeen by 5 goals to 0. As Kobayashi rolls it out to Juranovic on this near side.
I've got to say also there's an unbelievable crowd here tonight when you look around. I know season tickets is huge, but I don't see many empty seats, to be perfectly honest, on a cold night against St Mirren. It's a credit to Celtic fans that they turn out and the numbers that they do.
Juranovic picking up on the near side, rolls it out to the left for Jota. They might not be great away from home, St Mirren, but they've been excellent in Paisley. They could just pick up a few victories on the road. They are realistic top 6 candidates, without question. Doesn't matter what they do here at Celtic Park, doesn't matter what anyone other than Rangers does here, really. As they come forward, St Mirren's pulled back onto the 18-yard line there, but Celtic have enough to get it clear.
That was excellent play by Kilty and Grieve.
There's a chance for Kilty, plays it across, and Hart gathers at his near post. 76 played, Celtic 3, St Mirren 0. Saints still trying to force the issue, and you've got to give them great, and that's not being patronising, because there are teams here who are beaten into submission.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, St Mirren have set up to try and have a go, and to try and get something in terms of an offensive threat, but it's not really materialised. But you're absolutely right in terms of the overall season, Liam. They are top 6, potentially top 6 with the way their season's going. I was at Airdrie the night of the League Cup, and they were beaten, and they were well beaten, and it did not look feasible that this was going to be a realistic target for the top 6. But credit to Stephen Robinson, because he's put a good squad together and they're on course.
And credit to him also that he's put on those subs, and they're all attacking type players. Guerrera, Kilty, really, really good, and they look as if they're nice and fresh also. He's getting them probably ready for the next games, and this would have been a bonus for him anyway tonight. Yeah, absolutely. I think Kilty's done well since he's come on. He's a clever football player. Alex Grieve, for me, he's a workhorse. He's not going to light the place up in terms of his touches and his skill, but he will sneak in at the back post, the front post, and he'll be in the middle of the sticks. And he'll get you, for me, if he gets the minutes, 8-9 goals a season, which is a good return for a club like St Mirren.
It is Juranovic for Celtic on the ball, down on the near side, turns it back to McGregor to the edge of his own box for Starfelt. Short ball to Johnston, back to Hart, who leathers it clear with the right foot up towards halfway over to that right-hand side, but it's flicked on by Forrest. Taylor with the up and under, sliced up towards halfway, knocked down by Tanzer. Gogic helps it on its way. Starfelt picks up onto the knee of McGregor. He goes back to Starfelt and out to Johnston, and down the line for Turnbull, who crosses halfway. 77.5 on the clock. Celtic leading by 3-0. Double change coming for the champions in a moment. Here's Turnbull at the edge of the box. Took his eye off it. Allows Taylor in to make the challenge. And McGregor will pick up when he works the 1-2 with Johnston. McGregor to Moy and back to Callum McGregor. McGregor out to that right-hand side.
I've got to say, I'm just looking at the two players who's going to come on here, Haksabanovic and Maeda. The strength of the squad that Celtic have is quite incredible now.
It is, and everyone talks about the "we never stop" and that saying and all the rest of it, but the point is that when these guys come on, they can't afford to stop, they can't afford to go through the motions, because they know if they do, they're not going to play. So when they come on, they have a point to prove. They want to net a goal so that they can knock the manager's door and say, I should be playing.
When you think what things were like here 2 years ago when St Mirren stunned the Celtic fans with their win here, first since 1990, when you think of the atmosphere in the final weeks of Neil Lennon's second tenure as Celtic manager here, and the turnaround actually started last year when they eventually usurped Rangers at the top of the league and went on to lift the title. They've won 10 of the last 11, and they are beautifully placed to make it 11 out of 12. Kyogo Furuhashi, double for him tonight, up to 18 for the season. Jota is a relatively quieter evening, but he's still been involved heavily as he comes off as well, and Maeda and Haksabanovic come on to replace them.
Yeah, and Maeda will play through the middle as he's done in the past, and he's done it obviously in the World Cup also for his country, so he's not unused to that position by any means, and Haksabanovic will just have a straight replacement for Jota on the left-hand side, and they may be forced, if Giakoumakis goes, they will be forced maybe to play Maeda a little bit more for a while if they don't get another striker.
Kyogo can't enjoy that though. I know he's the ultimate team player, and you've seen that with James Forrest's goal, but he can't enjoy that being on 2 goals and coming off with 10 minutes left. That must frustrate the life out of him, although he can't really show it.
He's obviously an infectious personality, Kyogo Furuhashi. Last season he missed a large part of the second half of last season because of injury. He was heading for top scorer and player of the year accolades and all that. He's very much in the mix of it for this season. But last season when he was out injured, he was down there when players were coming off, being substituted, when the players were going off after the warm-up before matches. He was down there high-fiving all of them, giving them encouragement. He's just one of those guys. He still wants to be involved even when he's not involved.
Of course, and that's being part of the team. You have to do that. It's a big disappointment when you're not playing, but you're part of a team, so you have to contribute in another way, and he does it.
And then you've got Haksabanovic coming on as well. I think the player of the month not so long ago, and he's been in the periphery for a number of reasons now. Here he's here, looking dangerous.
Slip forward, Haksabanovic to Moy, left-hand side of the box, pulls it back. There's a toe on it. Celtic still have it here though, but it's a really important challenge by Taylor just to prevent that dropping back to Haksabanovic. He would have had a shot and goal there had the defender not been in the way. And Shaughnessy clears up towards the halfway line. It's taken down by Kilty. Beautiful play by Greg Kilty there. As he takes it down, Kobayashi comes to meet him. He's managed to slip it in field as well. Here's Main just leaving it for Grieve. And then Kilty out to Strain, wide on the right. It's a poor ball though, straight through to Joe Hart. It stays Celtic 3, St Mirren 0 on 81.
Idea was good. He could see what he was going to try to do, bend it into that almost near post, but he didn't get the right connection on the ball, and it was a weak effort. And he looks tired, really tired.
It was a great move though. Fantastic touch from Kilty, pulling it out the air. I just wondered if Grieve had left it to Main, whether that would have been the better option, but Kilty's made a difference for St Mirren since he's come on.
Good player though, isn't he, Greg Kilty? You saw that when he broke through at Kilmarnock. As Erhan gets himself tied up in knots inside his own box, not the best idea, especially here when Taylor bails him out and clears, and Grieve takes a good touch against McGregor and knocks it out to this right-hand side for Strain. So the scores as we have them, remember that game at Rugby Park, 15 minutes behind this one. Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 2, Hearts 5, Aberdeen 0, and here 3-0 to Celtic. There's a long ball from Carson, flags up on this near side, free kick will go Celtic's way.
Sorry, is there a reason for their match being 15 minutes later? Is it down to crowd or is it down to
telly? It's on the telly.
TV.
Yeah, TV scheduling.
It's interesting with that offside, and I've noticed this with Kobayashi a few times. I don't know, obviously, with the language barrier, if he speaks English, etc. But he's the one that's pulling the line up. He's the one that, through the use of his arms or however he's doing it, is getting the Celtic back four right up the pitch.
Kobayashi.
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen him shouting also for his first, for his debut, and that obviously I don't know what the language is. Is it football language or has he got English? But he's certainly taken on that leadership role very quickly, hasn't he?
Yeah, he seems to have done that, and that's the reason that St Mirren were caught offside there. It was his doing, screaming at his back four to get up.
You can see Juranovic obviously right-footed, playing very right-footed, also playing over on this left-hand side. It doesn't quite suit him, does it? He doesn't look totally comfortable. He'll run forward with the ball when the space is there, but just when it comes to him, he can almost feels as if he's not just comfortable on this left-hand side.
Ryan Flynn, who dropped out of the starting 11 for St Mirren tonight, comes on for his namesake Ryan Strain, as Gallagher clears up towards halfway. Juranovic, not a great touch, and that's allowed Grieve in behind him. Juranovic knocks it out for a St Mirren throw-in, level with the edge of the D of the Celtic box on this near side, main stand side, as we approach 84 minutes. Killie 1, Rangers 2, Hearts 5, Aberdeen 0. Hearts scored another one and they win that game 6-0. It will be their biggest ever win over Aberdeen. And a few 5-0s in the past. As Shaughnessy bowls the ball into the box, it's half away, and then the edge of the area, it's Kilty who hits it on the volley, but he puts it wide of the right-hand post. He's claiming corner. Goal kick only. 84 played. Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, it certainly didn't look like a corner. I think he was protesting on his own. But St Mirren looking sparse in numbers here as Celtic come forward.
Yeah, Moy slipping it through, looking for Maidat's off target with the pass though. Straight to Scott Tanser, he plays it back to his keeper. And Carson clears up to halfway where Starfelt's cushion header finds Johnston, who rolls it infield to McGregor.
Yeah, I think one of the other attributes that the Celtic team has is a fitness level. You know, they're able to keep up the intensity of their passing and their closing down and so on, and that is a big attribute to have within the team. It comes maybe from competition also, but they obviously train very well, all of them.
He's in Maida, out to Haksabanovic on the near side. Maida goes running to his left. Haksabanovic eventually passes it to him. Here's Maida shrugging off Gallagher. Left hand side of the St Mirren box. It's away from one defender, plays it off Gallagher and out for a Celtic throw-in corner. Again, it's the work rate. Kyogo and Maida just run themselves into the ground continuously in the Celtic team. Final 5 minutes of the 90 here, 3-0 to the champions.
I think that's also a cultural thing from the Japanese.
They work hard, don't they?
Work, yeah. Intensity is their game.
Turnbull, what a goal! David Turnbull! Well, he's more than 25 yards from goal there. Standing start, and he's lashed it past Carson. Past the goalkeeper, into the left-hand corner of the net, and it is Celtic 4, St Mirren 0. What a goal by Turnbull!
Yeah, shows his ability. He didn't have to, he just opened out on his first touch and just almost like a half stride onto the ball and smacked it low past the goalkeeper on the right-hand side. Goalkeeper almost a yard from his line, but it was in the corner and he couldn't get to it. It's a really good strike from Turnbull, and that shows that he has that ability. He has that ability. He can fit into his team. Just getting game time is his big thing.
That'll do his confidence the world of good, because I do think he's lacked a little bit of confidence since he's come on tonight. He's been a little bit slack in possession. However, that is a magnificent finish. That's what he's known for. He can grab you a goal from that midfield area. Great strike on him.
It's been a goal at Rugby Park. Remember last we heard 2-1 to Rangers against 10-man Kilmarnock. Martin Dowden.
Well, Celtic cruising there. It's Rangers now cruising here at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 3. It was a series of passes across the box. The ball went out to Borna Barisic on the left. He just dinked one back into the 6-yard box, and there was Alfredo Morelos once again, a second of the night, just jumped, twisted his neck and sent the ball into the corner. You think that's game over? Kilmarnock down to 10 men. It's Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 3.
And Alex Gogic almost pulled one back for St Mirren here. It's actually a really good save by Hart. What a hit there by Alex Gogic. I mean, it's a fabulous volley. He was in mid-air when he hit it.
Alex Gogic with a bicycle kick.
Incredible.
It was an unbelievable effort, and I'll let Packy talk you through the save, but it looked like a good one to me.
Oh, it was a great save, but it was a great execution from Gogic also, and hits it full on the volley from about... Here's a chance again.
Yeah, in comes the cross. Shaughnessy attacks it. Celtic get it away again. 4-0 down, but St Mirren still trying to force the issue in the final third.
I've got to say, is one of the qualities of tonight also that shot and that save. You know, we talk about Celtic having a lot of the quality, but that was brilliant from Alex Gogic. But what a save from Joe Hart. It was almost it was a beautiful height, but it was beyond him again. You know, we've seen him at the weekend pulling off that brilliant save you know, against Kilmarnock. That was another brilliant save with his right hand getting across, and it was almost behind him when it looked as if it had beaten him, but he pulled it out and knocked it away to safety.
Yeah, Packy, I mean, Celtic thoroughly deserved their win. They thoroughly deserved their lead. They've been the better team, but you know, you hear a lot of Celtic fans frustrated when teams just come and park the bus and sit in and soak up pressure. That's one thing. Despite losing 4-0, I don't think it can be labelled or levelled at St Mirren. I think they've came and had a decent go.
I totally agree, and credit to Stephen Robertson. As I said to you earlier, you know, he put the subs on. He could have put on maybe just to hold it and keep it nice and steady and not lose too many goals, but he didn't. He put on a couple of attacking players, and he's also, you know, tactically he's got them on the front footed.
People will say, well, you could beat 4-0, but in the same breath, teams come here, park the bus and don't get the opportunities and things like that as well, and they get beat 4-0. So
now Rangers got beat 4-0 here, so this is no disgrace for St Mirren, and they'll dust themselves down and move on. It's still just one away win this season. That is an issue if they want to be top six. I say it's an issue. Everyone seems to be struggling away from home. Aberdeen, who are getting torn apart by Hearts tonight, have only won 2 away games in the league this season. Hibs aren't much better. As St Mirren come forward, it's Kobayashi winning the header. He had to. Greaves was in behind him there, looking to get in the goalkeeper. Greaves battled to win it back off Kobayashi. Right hand side of the Celtic box. Jinks back onto his left side, still uses the outside of the right boot to find Kiltie. And now with Flynn on this near side, but in the 90th minute here with Celtic leading by 4-0. That pass goes straight to Haksabanovic.
Alex Grieve did all the hard work. The moment he takes that touch and cuts back, the chance is gone. Just flick it across the...
And now with Flynn on this near side, but in the 90th minute here with Celtic leading by 4-0. That pass goes straight to Haksabanovic.
Alex Grieve did all the hard work. The moment he takes that touch and cuts back, the chance is gone. Just flick it across the face for Curtis Main.
Forrest picks up on that right-hand side. And it's played forward for Johnston, who's got himself into a good position early. Cross ball in, the goalkeeper eventually gets onto it. It's those sausage fingers, isn't it? It came through, and the crisp packet hands, where he manages to get onto it. 4 minutes of injury time have been added on at the end. We will cross to Rugby Park for the closing stages of that game when we're done here, as Kyogo gets the man of the match here at Celtic Park. Not for the first time this season, and you suspect not for the last time this season. 4-0 Celtic, Kyogo with 2 of them, with Abada and Turnbull scoring either side of that.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. You know, his sharpness is I mean, he scored 2 goals. Of course, you're always in the mix for man of the match, but I think also his all-round play was very, very good. Real threat every single time Celtic has the ball in midfield. He's always on the move. He's looking to go in behind. He's checking off. He's a real handful for any centre half, and they've got 3 of them in there today to try to deal with him.
He's phenomenal, Backy.
Juranovic here for Haksabanovic, who's coming forward left-hand side of the box, goes back to Aaron Moy. It's been another goal at Tynecastle. We'll find out if Hearts are about to record their biggest ever win over Aberdeen. Just once the Celtic attack finishes, it's Forrest playing it short. Back to Forrest from Johnston, finds Turnbull. Turnbull looks up, little spin, 180 degrees. He's on it. I think the ref's going to give Celtic a free kick here at the edge of the box. Forrest's gone down. Stephen McLean making sure he's okay. Brian McLaughlin at Tynecastle.
As it stands, it's now Hearts 5, Aberdeen 1, but the goal is being checked for offside. It was Marley Watkins who eventually put the ball into the net. Referee Willie Collum just waiting on the video assistant referee to make his mind up and decide whether this goal is going to count or not. Alan Newlands is the man now making the call. We're deep into stoppage time here. Hearts well in control of this game. They're going to collect all 3 points and cement their place in 3rd place in the top of the towards the top end of the Scottish Premiership. Willie Collum still waiting on the decision. The ball is now in the hands of goalkeeper Xander Clark. We're still waiting to hear. It must be very tight, this one, Liam. Aberdeen have been better in the second half, you have to say, but Hearts have been absolutely dominant, particularly in that first half when they were 4-0 up at half-time. Referee Willie Collum has decided no goal. Video referee Alan Newland says the goal is offside, and indeed it will be a free kick to Hearts. It still remains Hearts 5, Aberdeen 0.
Yeah, and we're in second half stoppage time here as well, with Celtic leading by 4-0, 3-1 Rangers at Rugby Park. About a minute and a half left here, and it's Juranovic for Celtic and playing it to Haksabanovic on the left of the D, just moving it into a central area for McGregor, and he moves it back to Starfelt. Satisfying evening's work for Celtic, Packy, again.
Yeah, total. After that, probably 10-15 minutes when St Mirren were kind of almost in the game to a point, but no, Celtic have dominated, and they'll be very, very happy with their night's work.
Here they come, they just flicked into life again. Turnbull leaves it for Forrest. He's on the right foot inside the St Mirren box. His shot's deflected into the air and clutched onto by Trevor Carson. As for Saints, Rory, Celtic have Morton here at the weekend in the Cup. You would expect them to come through that. Dundee go to St Mirren. Possible. I was waiting to say banana skin. Dundee are such a huge club, seems strange saying that, but they are in the division below. Their next league game's at home to Motherwell, so a couple of games in Paisley, but they seem unbeatable.
Yes, They do, but it's probably not a draw Stephen Robinson would have been overly delighted with. It's that, you know, Dundee are top end of the Championship, and you know, it's one of those ones you'd expected to win because they're in a league below, but really, realistically, Dundee are a good side, so it's probably not ideal. They've not played in a little while now, Dundee, but I think over the piece and overall, having seen quite a bit of St Mirren this season, I would expect them to win that match, especially with the home advantage.
Kobayashi rolling it back to Hart, just inside his own box, all over at Tynecastle. And it's a joint record for Hearts in their 5-0 win over Aberdeen. They've equalled their biggest ever scoreline against the Dons. 4 in the first half. It's all over here as well. 4-0 to the champions, who cruised to the 3 points in the end, opening the scoring in 15 minutes through Lille Abada. Double from Kyogo Furuhashi after that on 35 and 53 before David Turnbull, 4 minutes from the end of the 90, lashed home a magnificent goal. A couple of the goals tonight, in fact 3 of them, outstanding. Abada's finish is great. The other 3 were great on a different level. Kyogo's first lobbing Trevor Carson. The counter-attack for his second was magnificent. Survived a VAR check before Turnbull's wonderful effort from distance found the net. The keeper couldn't get near it, and it all means that Celtic maintain their lead at the top of the table. Assuming Rangers go on to pick up all 3 points in that one, it will be a 9-point gap at the top with a big goal difference advantage as well. So without any further of ado, let's go to Rugby Park for the closing stages of the match there. Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 3, with Cammy Bell and Andy Barge.
And obviously the sending offs played a huge part in the way that Kilmarnock's been able to approach the rest of the second half. So they'll just want to manage this game. They've got 8 or 9 minutes left of the second half, and they'll be delighted they've came here and got the 3 points, because it's really important to continue this run that they're on and keeping picking up 3 points week after week.
Welcome all listeners from BBC Radio Scotland as you join us here at Rugby Park. Rangers 3-1 up and coasting against the 10 men of Killie, who relinquished possession midway through their own half. That could allow Scott Arfield to pick a pass. He does. Sakala, his shot is blocked, and the offside flag now goes up anyway. It was well blocked by Joe Wright as well. Around 12 yards out, Sakala put his foot in the ball, tried to curl it towards Sam Walker's bottom left corner. The Englishman stood tall.
Yeah, another good opportunity, good phase of play from Rangers there. 1-2 at the edge of the box and came to Sakala. A good block, albeit it was offside, but Kilmarnock just look a little bit leggy from the weekend now. They look tired in midfield. Alan Powers put a lot into this game, and going down to 10 men hasn't helped them either.
Change for Rangers with 8 minutes of the 90 to go. Glenn Kamara heads off, replaced by James Sands. Glenn Kamara very much the focal point for Rangers in this second half, Cammy. Just about everything has gone through him.
Yeah, he's controlled the game really well, played some good passes. Like, the difference from Rangers from the first half to the second, they've started playing a lot more forward passes, played with penetration and upped their tempo as well, and I'm pretty sure that would have been the message from Michael Beale at half-time.
Alan Power just about brings the ball under control on the halfway line on the right-hand side. Short pass to Polworth, who tries to clip it forward for Lafferty, the substitute. It's blocked. Throw into Killie 10 yards or so inside the Rangers half. Short throw for Ash Taylor, who is caught late by Malik Tillman as he sends that one into the sky. And he'll hobble forward here. He is one of Killie's main goal threats, and this is an opportunity for the hosts to try and reduce the deficit to 1. Liam Polworth stands over the dead ball around 8, 9, 10 yards inside the Rangers half on the right hand side. Arrowed ball towards the back post, kept alive, but then Scott Arfield gets his head to the ball. Robinson on the edge of the area. Power, good through ball for Polworth on the right hand side. First time cross, deep. Taylor's rising, gets his head to it, but he sends it in the opposite direction intended. And Lafferty has to keep it in just next to the corner flag. Lays it off for McEnroy to cross. It was blocked. Picked up by Power now, midway through the Rangers half. He lofts it back in. Taylor stayed forward. Gets there. Right shoots, right scores! Oh, what a goal from Joe Wright! On the volley from the edge of the box. Arrowed into the top corner. Maybe Killie are still alive. It's 3-2.
Yeah, it's brilliant from Kilmarnock. Persistence, they kept on throwing the ball in the box. It was getting cleared from Rangers. I was almost about to say Rangers have done so well defending this, but it was a flick on from Ash Taylor, and what a finish from Joe Wright on the volley. Right in the top corner. John McLaughlin, no chance, and we might have a game on our hands here.
Do not discount the goal threat of Joe Wright and Ash Taylor for Kilmarnock. That's them both on 4 now this season in the league for Killie. The two centre-backs combining there. What a sweet strike from Wright.
And we were just saying 5 minutes before it that Michael Beale's got a more comfortable night, and it doesn't look that way. Last 5 minutes, Kilmarnock have now got their tails up and can put that pressure onto Rangers, and that physical threat's been there all night. It's caused Rangers problems. They've not dealt with it very well, and it's proved to be that